click that link and join or sign up to speak, and we'll call you at that time. If you don't have a copy of the agenda and you need it, just go to the Community Board 2 Queens website, or if somebody can just drop in the link to the agenda, and then you can see our agenda. So welcome to our first meeting of 2022. As with all of our meetings up to now, they have been virtual, and they will continue to be virtual as long as the open meetings law has been suspended or adapted. We're waiting to hear from the state legislature on that. So to start off the meeting, I'd like to have the Pledge of Allegiance. So who wants to lead us in the pledge? Are we ready to start the pledge? Danielle,
Debbie,
do you want to lead us?
Debbie, we can't see the flag. It goes in and out of
Sure.
The best I could do.
Start us off.
I would get my flag, but it's too cold outside.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, am I?
I think you're, or maybe it's
I'm
mine.
not. For my thing, I'm not.
Okay.
It might be my connection. Sorry.
Might be me.
Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America,
one
and to
nation,
the republic
for
which stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you.
Hooray.
Sounds like every family event that I have, where everybody's singing off key at my home. Before we get started with the meeting, I just wanted to make a couple general housekeeping notes. Please keep yourself on mute when you're not speaking to keep the meeting orderly and easy to hear the people who are speaking. If your mic is left on and you've forgotten, don't worry. The tech team, Anatole, somebody will make sure we can mute you. So just be aware. Thank you in advance, Anatole, for that. Remember, this is a community meeting, and board members have priority when asking questions of any guests or elected officials. You can make, for the members of the public, you can make public comment during the public comment section. If we do have the chat, please use the chat if you'd like to ask the guest or an elected official a question. Please, board members, use the raise your hand function. Click on the reactions to raise your hand. It'll keep things a little bit more orderly and fair, because it's usually easier to, or we notice people whose video is on, and if your video isn't on, we can see your participant list. We can see your hands raised. So that will help out a lot. Be courteous, be respectful. We do have a community agreement. Do we have a link to the community agreement? We have a community agreement and rules for our Zoom chat, which basically do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and no personal attacks. We will only give one warning and then have to eject members who are disruptive from the meeting. With that, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize that today is January 6th. There was a, this is the first anniversary of events that I don't need to repeat. We've heard them all in the news all day today. I would just like to take a moment in a nonpartisan way just to have a silent moment of reflection and just to consider the people who we lost on that day and the trauma to our democracy. So we can just take a moment to silently reflect. Okay, thank you. To start off our meeting, we are not having a guest speaker today. Our guest speaker from the Office of Emergency Management was going to talk about Ready, New York. But we have a snowstorm coming and they are short-staffed, so they need all hands on deck, I guess. So they will not be coming, but we will then move right into our elected officials coming to speak. Who is our first person? Is it Julie? Is it?
Yes, I would,
Council member.
Councilwoman Julie Wan.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all. Familiar faces. It's like I'm back on a family holiday Zoom. So it's all good to see you. We opened our remote office on January 3rd, and our contact information is on the council website. And I have my district manager on here with me, Farah Salam, which if she could go after me, or if you want staff to talk after the elected officials who are also on, then she'll introduce us. So she'll be the main point of contact, especially for the community board. And right now, as you all are aware from reading the news and just being alive at this moment, we're in the middle of a health emergency. So our office is primarily focused on COVID-19 response right now. We were able to, since December 18th, even before we took office, we made sure that we were working with New York City Health and Hospitals and Test and Trace to make sure that we opened 3 more sites. Because currently we only had one before the last week of December, when Omicron started to surge, we only had 1 mobile site, which was a single mobile van hosted by New York City in Woodside, outside of NYCHA Woodside houses. So we were able to partner with Sunnyside Community Services, which they generously were able to host New York City Health and Hospitals for saliva testing. And due to the shortage of administrators and just shortage of resources, it is first come, first serve, and the schedule is constantly changing. So we are doing our best to stay in touch with our partners at H&H and Test and Trace, as well as the nonprofits, to make sure that we're keeping an up-to-date schedule of when the testing sites are available in each neighborhood. But we were able to open one at Sunnyside Community Services, and we also were able to partner with Woodside on the Move, as well as the other elected officials, to open another pop-up site at Noonan Playground in Sunnyside/Woodside. And we also have MoMI, the Museum of Moving Image, in our district in Astoria, that has opened up, and it will be open again this weekend. They are on a weekend schedule due to availability. And then we also have the Plexel Culture Lab site in Long Island City that has now opened. And this is in addition to the City MD sites and other private providers. And we have also heard feedback from constituents about some issues with testing and the turnaround time. I know that a lot of places are promising 24 to 48 hours. And I know that if it is not a PCR rapid test or an antigen test, you have to be aware that there is a lot of backlog at all of these testing labs to get results. So please be patient. And if you have not received the test results, because we've also heard from constituents that some pop-up testing sites not run by the city, but run by private providers through contracts, have not provided test results at all. We are going to be releasing a press release tonight, and all this information will be available to you in the local press as well. And if you want more information on how to report a testing site for poor practices, for example, we heard that there was one in Woodside where people were waiting outside for a private provider for more than 3 hours with 50 people online, yet the testing never began. But you have to understand that for non-city run testing sites, we don't have a lot of jurisdiction over them, but we can report them to the Attorney General as well as the Comptroller's office. So we are with you. For the time being, my office is going to be working remotely until the middle of January. So we are planning a soft launch, but there are a lot of COVID restrictions from the city as well to keep our staff safe and to keep our constituents safe. So we're going to be at half capacity, but we will be in our office. But even now, as we work remotely, we're available via phone as well as email. And if you have a dire emergency and you need to see us in person or outdoors, we are happy to set that up as well by appointment. So Farah, if you can drop in our email and our phone number in the Zoom chat, people can have that as well. Any questions so far? And we are also doing school visits. We were able to get COVID kits from the Queensborough President's Office. We will start, which we're picking up tomorrow, and we will be distributing to all District 30 schools in the district. And we heard you, all the parents and all the grandparents who are very concerned with schools right now, and we are with you, and we are fighting and advocating for more safety procedures and access to accurate testing. So that is what we're primarily focused on, as well as the snow that is coming, ice issues, and others that are happening in the neighborhood. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, council member, and congratulations. It looks like we have some board questions. Mr. Cooper.
Hi, Julie. It's nice to see you, hopefully someday in person, and congratulations on the personal things in your life too. On the two things I wanted to bring up, they both have to do with the virus. Why is it that the city has made a rule that you don't have to be vaccinated to go to public school, but you do have to be vaccinated if you're over the age of 5 years old and want to go to a kiddie camp or a dance class or anything like that? It just seems absurd.
Hi, Stephen. It's good to see you too. We have a weekly briefing, at least every other day, with New York City Health and Hospitals and the Department of Health, and I asked the same question. So next week, you'll see our press release on pushing and advocating for mandated vaccinations for children, because it is becoming very clear. We're hearing all throughout the week that kids, even though they are testing negative at the take-home tests and at the antigen test in school, they're finding out from the PCR test or from a saliva test 2 days later that they were positive the whole time, and now the whole entire class is infected as well as the teacher. So I hear you, and we have gotten that feedback as well.
The other thing is that you mentioned that Culture Lab is doing quick testing. They're open, I believe, 7 days a week. And I would suggest if anybody wants to, you could either go to the Culture Lab website and find out the hours or call them. But it's in Long Island City for those who are there. Thank you.
Yeah, Farah, if you can also drop in the city website. Actually, I might have it handy right now, but I'll also drop in the overall testing sites from New York City Health Test and Trace. So that way, this is a trusted site that you can go to, and you will have your test results through a portal online in time. And Test and Trace will also call you if you test positive with all the resources that you need. So I'll put that in the Zoom chat as well.
Great, thank you. Okay, Ms. Khan.
Hi, Julie. How are you? Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I have a severe cold. Everybody in my family had COVID, so it's been pretty bad. So quick question for you. How about some adults? Like, let's say we have grandparents who cannot leave the house, but maybe they visited. We've been having a hard time getting rapid tests from the stores. They're too old to go out. And I went to, I think, like 5 or 6 different stores to get just a rapid test. So it's been very difficult. So do we know if any agency or someone goes to the house, drop them off? The other thing, I know someone posted in our Sunnyside that this pharmacy had these rapid tests. I think within 5 minutes I walked there and nobody had it. So we've been having struggle finding these tests, and especially for adults, and especially people who are like homebound and can't leave the house, or maybe someone visited them. So it's been very difficult. Do you have something like that where we could call, or someone called? Because there's a lot of people who are homebound, somehow got infected. Maybe their housekeeper came in, or their housekeeper who was taking care of them came in. And I found someone came to clean their house. She got it. Now she couldn't get a test, so I dropped her a test, but I can get them. And let me tell you, the prices are outrageous. People are charging arm and a leg for them. I don't know if everybody, look, you were able to get 2 of them for $14. People are charging them $40, $45. Are we trying to monitor that for the people in our community? So maybe more. And hope everybody feels better. And Julie, congratulations on your good news.
Thank you. Padron, I hope you feel better as well, and your family. You have to report all the price gouging So there is a formal form that you can report for New York State for Attorney General. I'll have Farah drop that in, and there's actually a phone number that you can call for seniors over 65 where they will come to your home and get you tested. For right now, for take-home tests, I had sent out, my team and I had sent out to all the CBOs in our district to make sure that they had the link of how to sign up and become properly qualified if they were to distribute take-home tests. Unfortunately, with schools reopening and the lack of preparedness that the DOE and our city had, all the take-home tests have now been prioritized for schools. So even for example, like Sunnyside Community Services Center, we had them registered and they were prepared to receive it and distribute it, but they were not able to get the allotment that they had asked for of like thousands of tests because they were reallocated to schools. So that's just where we are at right now, even on a federal level, because as a country, we had focused on vaccinations and we had stopped manufacturing to the extent that we needed to for COVID-19 testing kits. So for at-home tests, we are going to continue to be at a severe shortage, because if you think even the math, doing the simple math of how many tests are needed per day per student, because you're not just giving a kid one test per day. So even per week. So it's only a matter of time. So one, please report the test price gouging. We'll drop that link in the Zoom chat as well. And two, there's a phone number that you can call for seniors so that you can get someone to your house to test the seniors, because we are very worried for the most vulnerable, which are children, seniors, and those with pre-existing conditions. And three, I will continue to advocate for more take-home tests to become accessible, but just seeing the state of our city and the school reopenings right now, it is going to be tough. So I want to manage expectations, but what I can do is continue to increase testing in person so that to make up for the lack of access to take-home tests. So thank you so much, Badrun. I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Mr. Matoutsis.
Thank you, and thank you, Julie, and congratulations, and welcome to the meeting. My question is about testing as well, and I've been reading about the OSHA mandate, and I recognize that New York has even more strenuous conditions, which I appreciate, but I've been reading that the federal government intends to send out billions of test kits. Do you have any information on that, and could that also help?
For the federal government, I'll let Daniel Bontius answer since he's on from Congresswoman AOC's office.
So I don't have a more recent update than I think what you've heard, Tom, is that we're expecting, what I heard was 500 million, so 500 million tests being distributed. We haven't heard word of the mechanism of that distribution yet. But I anticipate that it'll be similar to the way that these resources have been distributed throughout the pandemic, is that they will go to either states or municipalities for those governments to distribute through their current systems. So with the exception of the testing sites, the federal testing sites that have opened up in the past couple of weeks, and we are expecting, pushing for and expecting more of those federal sites to come as long as this spike continues to grow.
Thank you, and thank you both.
Any other questions for the councilwoman? Okay. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Wan. Really appreciate you coming by. Welcome. And congratulations. Okay, so we will move along. I wanted to invite Congresswoman Maloney's representative, Ernie Brooks. Are you here? I think I saw you.
And Maury, I'm glad you focused us briefly on the terrible events of a year ago today. As you know, Congresswoman Maloney and her colleagues were there at the Capitol that day as domestic terrorists incited by the defeated former president stormed the halls of Congress. The Congresswoman is proud of the House's passage of the Protecting Our Democracy Act and is doing everything she can to push Senate colleagues to do the same. I'd say of all the bills, maybe the most critical is that one. We must never forget the horrific events we witnessed last year and continue to fill our jobs to prevent future acts of domestic terrorism and preserve the sanctity of our elections. And then going on to some more specific things. Early in December, the Congresswoman wrote to Biden to extend the COVID-19 emergency relief for federal student loans past the January 31st deadline, and it's been extended till, I believe, the end of May, which is a good thing. While this was a necessary and important step, she continues to fight to call on the administration to effect permanent federal student debt relief. The Congresswoman is currently working to close the Big Alice fossil fuel plant on, which everybody knows, on Vernon Boulevard, just north of the Queensboro Bridge. She's currently writing legislation to block new permitting for fossil fuel plants in communities that are already overburdened with these plants. Western Queens, which is, people probably know, and I remember when my daughter first went to elementary school, it's known as Asthma Alley because so many people at PS 78 then were, you know, almost everybody in the class was written down as having asthma, including my daughter, didn't actually have asthma, but they assumed she did because of where we lived, which is about 3 blocks south of the bridge. Anyway, so this is one of those, we live in a lot of community board too, is in an impacted community. For far too long, certain neighborhoods in this city, including Western Queens, have continued to be overburdened by these plants. As a city, state, and nation, we need to be ending our reliance on fossil fuel generation and not doubling down with investments in these climate killing technologies that are detrimental to the health of our communities. So that's pretty much it. And she's doing, of course, what she can to have all the information about what can be done in terms of increasing tests available in District 12, and also, you know, just generally on top of all the information about this new surge that's hitting us so hard right now. So feel free to call our office 212-860-0606. And there are people, it's a reduced staff, but the office in Manhattan is still staffed all the time. So don't hesitate to reach out for any constituent services. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Anybody have questions for Ernie?
Yeah.
Wow, this is gonna be a quick meeting.
No guest speaker. What are we gonna do?
I know, right? I'm sure we'll come up with something. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the update. Daniel from Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez.
Hi, Maury. Hi, everybody. Thanks very much. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Daniel Bontius, Deputy District Director of Operations for Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Happy New Year and welcome back. I don't have much to add to what the Councilwoman said and what Ernie reported on. I did want to thank you, Maury, for acknowledging today's date. Obviously something that affected myself and my colleagues quite a lot. So thank you very much for acknowledging that. The only thing to add about COVID testing sites is just that we're aware of the delays and the lack of testing sites. So we're working with our state, federal, and city partners to expand those options. So if you know of a location that is lacking, please reach out to us. We continue to collect information from our constituents in order to help us expand testing in the appropriate areas. Additionally, due to the Omicron surge, we've shifted our office back to remote work, but you can still call our office 718-662-5970 or reach out to us on our website, ocasio-cortez.house.gov. And we're still operating at full capacity, just remotely. Finally, on December 17th, the Congresswoman hosted a youth town hall. It was the first time we did that, where we focused on bringing students and the young people of our district to the town hall. She discussed the various opportunities we offer to our younger constituents and took questions from the audience. If you'd like to watch the recording, you can visit our YouTube page. I'll share the link in a moment. And then also to hear about upcoming public events and other town halls, you can sign up for our newsletter. I will keep it short and end it there. Let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? I don't see anybody. Wow, look at this. All right, thank you, Mr. Bontius. I believe we have Khalil from the Borough President's Office.
Thank you, Maury, and
Hi, Khalil. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So we do have a few announcements. First and foremost, community board applications are now live on our website. So if anyone needs to renew their application or knows anyone that wants to apply to be a community board member, please direct them to our website. You don't need any approval from a council member this year. Everything is online. And if you have any questions, I'll leave my information in the chat, as well as our director of community boards. You can reach out to us directly and we'll be glad to help you through this process. The deadline will be February 16th to apply. Next coming up, we're allowing scholarships now for African-American Heritage High School students. The deadline is January 10th, unfortunately. I think I did announce this the last meeting, but they're allowed to submit their applications by the 10th, and also they can submit their transcript as well. So the application is on our website as well. Once again, I'll leave that information on in the chat. And Thursday, January 13th, we will have a webinar for our seniors throughout Queens. We'll have the Department of Aging, AARP, and the Queens Public Library to discuss the opportunities that we have for seniors and COVID-19 resources for them throughout the borough. So you can apply and RSVP for that on the website as well. Like I said, I'll leave that in the chat. One more announcement is we also will have our Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act webinar. That'll be on January 25th at 5:30 p.m. virtual as well. We'll have Queens Defenders on there, and along with the borough president, to talk about what you can expect from that act. Also, our borough board meeting on Monday will include the New York City Health Department. I will send out that agenda later tonight, actually. We had a little issues confirming them, but they were able to confirm. So all COVID-19 updates, I know that's a big topic right now, they will be able to provide that. We're also still working to see if the state health department can attend that meeting as well to give our Queens residents any update on COVID-19. So once again, that meeting is available to the public, 5:30 p.m. on Monday. It will be live streamed on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer, and I'll put everything that I mentioned in the chat as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bragg. Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, just a brief question, Khalil. The fact that you don't need a council person anymore to sponsor you or to approve you, is that a change in the city charter or what?
I'll have to double check that with our community board director. She actually just informed me of that right before this meeting. This is the first meeting I'm announcing that we are aware of, but I'll double check with you, Mr. Cooper, and I should be able to get an answer for you.
Hi, Khalil. If I can just jump in, it doesn't mean that the community board applications don't get reviewed by the council member. It's just now streamlining the process so that it's not a paper trail where you have to get my physical signature and my approval in order to be part of the application system. So the approval system will continue to remain the same. It's just now the process itself is online, therefore you don't have to do both.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
And are we continuing to not have to get a notary, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
And if I may just add, I believe the council person and the borough president meet and go over all the applications.
Correct.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Bragg. Okay, so moving right along, if we have no more questions for the VP's office, we will, I believe we have somebody from Council Member Holden's office, do we not?
Hi, Craig Caruana here.
Hi, Craig.
Great to be with you all. Happy New Year. Congratulations to Councilmember Juan and her team. It's great to have you in the council. I just have a few brief updates. Like everyone else, we're focusing on getting more testing for the district. We are doing testing at the district office in Middle Village on Dry Harbor Road. We have another testing coming up this Saturday, January 8th, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. in the district office. We had a lot of people come out for the first two testing. We've done 3 so far. Over 800 people came out for the first 2, and we had the 3rd one today. So it's definitely in demand. We're trying to work with the city and the state to get a more permanent testing site, a brick and mortar site set up in the district. We have spoken to the governor's office, who is receptive and helpful in getting PPE and testing kits to non-public schools in the district. So these schools outside of DOE are now getting supplies. There's a system set up and a form to fill out for any school that needs assistance in getting these resources. But like everyone said, really focused on COVID right now and trying to get as much resources to the district as possible. The city council session did come to an end. We had a few just important bills I wanted to bring up. One, Councilmember Holden did pass a bill that would make it illegal for any company to sell devices whose purpose is to obscure or cover license plates. These are already illegal in the city, but much like Mace is illegal, you are actually still able to buy it. So if you were to go on to Amazon, you see you wouldn't be able to get Mace shipped to you in New York City. You are able to get these devices shipped to you. So we're trying to put the pressure on retailers to make sure they're not selling these devices in New York City. Additionally, we passed a bill, Councilmember Holden held a hearing in the tech committee for the GIS technology, where it would create a position within the mayor's office for a GIS officer. The idea being geo information, spatial information will be shared more readily across city agencies. The urgency with this was Hurricane Ida, where we had a lot of information that was gathered through satellites and the mapping of our sewer system, where we were able to predict where flooding was going to be able to occur. But that information really wasn't shared. This is a bill, Councilmember Levin was the prime sponsor, and Councilmember Holden co-sponsored it, held a hearing on the bill in the tech committee, and we were able to get it voted on and passed at the last stated meeting. So we're also happy about that. It'll certainly, it doesn't make headlines, but it puts our city government in a little bit better position to combat flooding in the future. I'll leave it at that. If there's any other questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you. Christine.
Yes, I have a general question, not just for you, but you've referred to it along with a couple of other people about these tests that are being reserved for schools, for use by schools. Does that mean basically staff or for the use of the school while it's in session, or to children when classes are taken offline? I mean, kids can't come to school because there's been, COVID people have tested positive in that class. Can the students go back to the school to get their test in order to be able to come back to school, or is that totally on the family?
I've personally not heard that any student can be tested at any school. I was referring specifically, the governor announced that they're going to be providing resources to public schools. And then Councilmember Holden reached out to the governor's office, and a pipeline has now been set up to provide those same resources to any school in New York City, meaning not just public schools, the parochial schools, private schools, religious schools. I have not heard about any student just being able to go get tested, though, if they're a public school student, be able to get tested at a public school. I have not heard that. I'm happy to look into it for you, or for anyone else on this call has heard that. Feel free to jump in.
Christine, I think what you're referring to is that right now, all of the at-home testing kits that the city has are being distributed to the public schools. Every family gets every kid gets a packet of 2 to take home. That way, when there is a positive test in their class, they all take that first test, or they have to take 2 tests over 7 days, I believe is the policy. So it's their way of doing the testing if there's an exposure. So right now, all of the tests that the city is getting are going into the schools, and that's why the at-home test kits are not available for the CBOs at this time.
So
I
if
see
a
that
child
someone
is
corrected me a little bit, but
yeah, if a child is in a class that gets closed because of COVID, they should be sent home with 2 tests. Is that what you're saying?
Christine, we're not, sorry, I can speak to this.
Yeah.
We are not closing classrooms at all anymore since the new year. So if there is a case in a classroom, all the students and staff in the classroom will get a take-home test to take that night. And as soon
I don't think, I mean, that hasn't, so my grandson is in I don't know if that applies to 3K and 4K.
It does not apply.
Okay, that's why, all right.
Yep.
So should those kids be able to get these take-home tests?
That I can't answer, sorry.
Okay, thank you. I know it's evolving. Thank you.
Mr. Raga, did you have a question?
I did, but I lowered my hand, but I'll ask it anyway then. With all the self-test kits headed to public schools, so what, at least to my knowledge, it's strictly with the DOE though, not necessarily extended to the DYCD and after-school programming to maybe staff over there. Is that the case, or is there is an allocation for after-school programming after school for the staff at after schools?
I don't know if it's to after-school programs, but you mean in terms of staff that are part of the after-school program, but not necessarily part of DOE, correct?
Yeah, correct. Because I know that there is a requirement as of this week to, before you could enter the building or go to work, report to work, is to receive a negative or bring a negative test with you. But you're gonna have to go sit on a line or wait on a line for a bit to even
right. Yeah, it does not. The answer to your question is no. It would not. Like if you work for a nonprofit, you're not getting that DOE resource, as I understand it. If anyone has more up-to-date information, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
All DYCD contracted programs have access to these take-home tests.
DYCD contract. Okay. Does that, Stephen, answer your question?
Yes, with a sorry to take up. You know, I'll bring it offline. Thanks for
Thanks. I'm just going to chime in. I have 2. Anybody else have a question from the board? Any board members have a question? All right. I have 2 unrelated questions. Well, one is related to what we just talked about. And it's in terms of masks. We keep hearing, and this is to any of the electeds who've spoken so far, or anyone from any office that knows the answer to this. We've heard a lot about stop wearing cloth masks. You should be wearing KN95 or N95s. You want to wear ventilation, especially with this new variant. I've heard a lot about, I think the state said they're going to give out 1 or 2 million masks. Do we have any information on these masks and how they're going to be distributed and how folks can get them? I guess not. All right, so maybe if somebody finds that out, they can get back to us. I know since that's a state issue, maybe Tiffany, do you know anything about that from the Assembly Member's office?
Hi, good afternoon, Maury. Good afternoon,
Hi.
Board. Unfortunately, I do not know the answer for that just yet, but we know immediately as we hear anything, we will notify the public on what is most suitable for everybody to be wearing during these times. And thank you for calling me out right now. I just want to share some community events that will be happening. As of now, the assembly member is part of the assembly members that are sponsoring the free COVID-19 testing that's coming this upcoming Monday from 12 to 7 p.m., which is going to be near 3130 61st Street. No appointment will be needed. I'll be putting this information on the chat below for anybody that's interested, as well as the following programs that are now running. The extension of eviction moratorium is extended to the 15th. So if you guys know of anybody that might be potentially in experiencing an eviction, make sure that they have signed up for this before the deadline. As well, that New York State has announced the New York State Homeowner Assistance Fund. This is a federal fund directly to assist homeowners who had been at risk of foreclosure or displacement due to the result of the COVID-19 pandemic. All this information will be put in the chat as well. The following program as well is the Home Energy Assistance Program, HEAP, which is for homeowners or people that fall into SNAP benefits to apply for heating at home. This program is going to be running till the funds have run out. We are also in our office, we have e-waste drop-offs. We're currently remote, so we suggest people to send us an email, call us ahead of time, so we have someone in the office available to receive your electronics. As well as our most fun event is our first paper shredding event that we'll be holding. This is going to be January 22nd on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be located here in our shopping center, but anybody's free and welcome to come. We do remind everybody that the limit is 5 boxes, and we will be proceeding with COVID guidelines. So please wear your mask. And yeah, I'm just going to be putting that information down below. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. My name is Tiffany Hurtado, and I am the representative of Assembly Member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. Have a good day, guys.
Tiffany, the shredding event, is that just paper, or do they do like media like CDs, DVDs, or any electronics?
So yeah, paper shredding is just strictly paper, but our electronic e-waste in our office, we do we're gonna start taking appointments now. You could come drop off CDs, old TVs, old DVDs, VCRs, anything that's old and dusting away in the closet. New year, new us. So please feel free to message us and we could have something set up.
Great. Thank you. Anybody have questions? Lisa.
Yeah, Tiffany, I have a question about ERAP and LRAP. Are they going to reopen ERAP and LRAP?
So at the moment, ERAP is currently running. I believe that it's running until funds are out. The process is taking long for people to get their money back, but it's still currently active.
Yeah, but it's all used. The money is all used up.
It's currently all used up, you're saying?
Yeah.
So if there's any applications that are currently closed, then they should be notified. But my understanding is that it's still open. But let me just double check on that with you, Lisa, and I'll send you more information. If you have anybody that's having issues with ERAP or the landlord side as well, please let me know.
No, I mean, I know a lot of not-for-profit landlords who've applied for ERAP and LRAP, and they've gotten a fraction of the money that they applied for or that tenants applied for. And it's really hurting the portfolio of buildings around New York City who just, can't pay for expenses because of the issue. And, there's the eviction moratorium. And so all of it is really taking its toll, especially on not-for-profit landlords. So I just want to put that in your head about things to work on because the ERAP and LRAP apparently are used up and buildings are just sitting there trying to figure out what to do. And I'm talking particularly about the cohort of buildings that are operated by not-for-profit community development organizations. So just kind of note that, please.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other comments for Tiffany or questions? All right. Before we move on, I just want to circle back. Craig, this might be in your district, but sure. I've heard some concerns from folks that, especially after the Woodside flooding or the flooding that from the storm that affected Woodside so badly. And I've heard discussion about something with the BQE and valves and water being drained from the BQE. Have you heard anything about that? There was this talk about how that's done and decided, and if that could have caused some of the problem.
Beyond that, it's not true. I haven't heard anything else. I'll look into it more for you, follow up with a more detailed email. But I had heard that rumor before. I just know, I've been told it's not true. I don't have any other details other than that, but happy to follow up, tomorrow morning and get a little bit more information for you that you could then send to the rest of the community board members.
Okay, great. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thanks. Okay, James from the Controller's Office. Welcome, James. Happy New Year.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. So as you can see, I'm still here working for the Controller's Office. We have a new controller now. Brad Lander has just taken off.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you, James.
You can't hear me at all?
Now we can.
I can hear you. Now it's better.
Okay, sorry. Let me get closer to the microphone. So hi, everyone. Happy New Year. As you can see, I'm still here. I'm still working for the Controller's Office, but we have a new controller. Brad Lander has just taken office. So I just want to, I guess, introduce our new office. It's very similar to the office with Scott Stringer, but we're going to have a few changes, and Controller Lander wants to say hello to everyone and let everyone know that he really looks forward to working with more communities across the city, and he really hopes to start, hitting the ground running like right away. So if anyone has any issues related to the Controller's Office, you can still reach out to me. You can still call me at 646-689-6509. Again, that's 646-689-6509. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put my email there too. We don't have any new reports or audits that have come out yet, but if you're interested in an audit related to community boards, I know I sent this to a bunch of you via email, but I'm going to put it in the chat. It was one of the last audits done under Controller Stringer. Actually came out on December 30th, and it's an audit of the 14 community boards. If you're curious to see that, seeing the community board performance, there's stuff about this community board and all the other ones as well. You can check that out. It's in the chat. And I also want to mention one thing related to property tax reform. Some of you may have heard that the Property Tax Commission issued its final report. I believe it was yesterday. So our office just put out a statement on that as well. So there's a statement from Controller Stringer, and he really hopes to have comprehensive property tax reform that addresses the imbalances of how multifamily properties are taxed, especially the 2 and 3 family homes that we have so many of in Queens, including in Community Board 2. So I'll put that in the chat as well. And again, if you need me, you can continue to reach out by the same email, same phone number, and I'll put that in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you, James. Any questions for the Controller's Office? Okay, thank you. Did I miss any electeds or official offices? All right, so moving to some of our CBOs. Jonathan from Sunnyside Community Services.
Thank you so much. Jonah Gensler from Sunnyside Community Services. Thank you to all the electeds for your support for our work. Councilman Holden supporting saving our seniors. We're using those funds to serve seniors that are hard hit right now. So thank you, Craig, for that. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, 2 of the 10 asks for community supports have been for Sunnyside Community Services for both our public health workers and for Woodside houses, where we have a cornerstone that's been terribly impacted by flooding as well as violence in the community. I would also say thank you to Councilwoman Wan for being present in our center and for your allyship around testing. This Monday, we are in fact having testing from 1:30 to 7:30. And we're especially concerned about those that aren't on social media and aren't connected and making sure that they get access to testing. So I'm looking at you, Clara Oza, over at PS 343, making sure that we reach those parents through the programming we have there. That's a big priority because sometimes we see that the folks that show up also need the support, but there are a lot of other folks that aren't getting tested. Bring to your attention a few programs that we have that continue to serve the community. We have preschool programming every year for 3 and 4-year-olds completely free, and we're now open for enrollment for next year. Our senior center still remains very active, although we did take the choice early on with this new wave of Omicron to close down our in-person eating. And instead we're doing grab and go where seniors can come and get a meal and bring that home, as well as get a whole myriad of other services. So those are, I also would like to thank, excuse me, sorry, my 2 minutes are up. Thanking Ocasio-Cortez as well for the town hall meeting where we had students from Queens Tech High School participate. Thank you.
All right, questions. Ms. Brecker.
Thanks, Maury. Happy New Year. I'm very concerned about the people who are not online and don't know where to go for testing and all these services. Is there something that I and other members of the community board could do besides just telling the people who live in our buildings, like how to get tested, where to go, all about these services? Is there some way we could help?
Thank you for asking that. So we have a team of professionals who are out in the community doing outreach in the streets. And so if you know areas that we should be targeting, I mean, we go everywhere from Jackson Heights to Corona to Bliss Plaza, making sure we're reaching those folks. So we're out in the streets doing that work, and that's how you're going to get those folks. As well as using, WhatsApp and other apps. People are on apps, but it's the networking, so who you know, that helps. So please connect with me, and we have a great team that's doing that work.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Very well. Thank you, Jonah. And I'm sorry, I think I called you Jonathan before.
That's okay.
Thank you. I think we do have somebody from Woodside on the move, right, Adrian?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. We have a couple of updates about what's on the move. First is what's on the move main office has moved the service virtual for the next 2 weeks. So if there is any need, just contact our phone numbers and email, where we are responding right away. Our monthly housing tenants legal clinic is going to be virtual this month, as on the 25th. And I will put the link on the chat. We are happy to announce that we are joining the New York Immigration Coalition as of this week. So we are looking forward to serve and supporting immigrants and families, immigrants in Western Queens. During the month of December, we distributed about 500 toys through Woodside and the surrounding areas. So we are happy to announce that this is one of the highest amount of toys that we distributed in all these years. And last week, our new program, Youth on the Move, helped to deliver 1,000 meals and 1,000 masks across Queens and Brooklyn. So this is a new program that we are launching, and we are happy to see the movement and the support of all the community. The last 2 weeks, we have COVID testing in our main office. We partnership with Monarch Health, which is located in Woodside across the street from San Sebastian School. And we were serving every single day from 10 to 4. And moving forward from this coming up week, we are gonna be there Mondays and Thursdays from 10 to 4 p.m. We are doing the CPR only, no rapid test. And we are gonna host another site in the Big Six this Friday, the 14th from 12 to 7 p.m. And we're working on getting new sites. We're gonna post all the information on our social media for new dates. So, keep checking our social media. And we wanna thank all the elected officials that help us to do this COVID test. We wanna thank Senator Janaris, Senator Ramos, Assemblymember Cruz, Assemblymember Brian Barwell, Councilmember Juan, and Congressmember Grace Mann for all their support when it comes to launch COVID test sites. And that's all from my end.
Okay, any questions for Woodside on the Move? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Adriana. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thanks. Looks like we have one more, Mr. It's Nemo. Nemo, are you here? Are you still here?
Yes, hi. How is everyone?
Hi, welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I just spoke to someone a few minutes ago, told them I was at a meeting, and they want to.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's actually great to get all the information from everyone on the board. It's actually my first meeting. My name is Nemo Prasad. I'm a mobile outreach case manager from Transitional Services for New York. We provide mental health services to the community. As it stands, because of COVID, mental health has greatly increased. The need for mental health providers has also increased in the general population and the mentally ill population. So I did put my information in the link in the chat box. We are servicing all 5 boroughs. We provide services for the Medicaid and non-Medicaid. Unfortunately, we do not provide services for the undocumented, but if someone were to reach out to me, I would definitely give them the resources for coalition groups to connect them to mental health services. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I just have a quick question. I clicked on that form and it's asking me, telling me I need permission. Is that, do I have something wrong on my computer? Or? Maybe it just needs to be changed to public setting or something, public share. If it's the same link, it won't matter. Oh, it says only users in the organization. Okay, you can let me know. Does anyone have any questions for Nemo? No, alrighty. So
thank you for your time.
Yeah, Nemo, if you can follow up with us if that's not the right link, or if you can open it up.
Okay, yes, yes, I'm sorry. I will definitely provide the link to you.
All right, it might be the same one. It might be just that you have to make it open to people outside your organization, but well, as long as we have the link and it's right, that'll be good. Otherwise,
Yes,
just follow up.
Yes, very good.
Thank you. Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
I see that Assemblyman Barnwell is here.
Yes, how you doing? Sorry I'm late.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and again, congratulations to you. I'll be real quick. And again, I apologize for being late. You know, and I know I caught the end of Woodside and the Move. I really want to thank Woodside and the Move. You know, we've been having COVID testing sites throughout the Assembly District, all the way into Middle Village and Maspeth, all the way to Astoria. And they kind of just said, "Hey, what do you need?" And they made everything happen. So I really want to thank Woodside and the Move for all that. Aside from all the other stuff they do. We're going to be adding more sites in CB2 district and elsewhere, but the next opportunity for free COVID testing would be at my office, 5519 69th Street, from 3 to 7 p.m. That's PCR nasal. And then on January 10th, near Corpus Christi Church, 3130 61st Street, from 12 to 7, we're going to be doing PCR nasal. And again, thank you, Woodside and the Move. Again, we're going to be adding more sites, hopefully in Sunnyside, and that's really it. Session technically just started, but we really kind of start getting to nitty gritty starting next week. So that's really it, and I hope everyone had a blessed holiday season and have a happy New Year.
Thank you, Assembly Member. I have two quick questions, and we'll see as other people join if they have other questions. The first question I'd asked before, but maybe you have information on it. There's been this talk about masks by the state that are going to be given out, 1 million or 2 million masks. You know anything about that?
You know, it's fun. I've been texting the governor's people and the mayor's people, and they seemingly have no idea what I'm talking about. So, it's interesting. And I actually had some stuff lined up at Borough Hall, and magically that shipment never came. So, what a surprise, government at its finest. However, when in the middle of the pandemic, there was, and hopefully we're not getting there again, right? But they did generously give us sanitizer and cloth masks, which I know obviously are not as good as the K95s, but we do have some of those. So, we still have the sanitizer. We will be giving away some of that stuff. But I gotta tell you, once we get the better mask, I will definitely put out an announcement for a giveaway. But I've heard the same things. I've reached out to the right people, but they're not giving me any answers. So
okay, if you hear anything, just let us know. I know that
definitely
that we just keep hearing in the news, don't wear cloth anymore, and wear the respirator, KN95, N95, whatever. NIOSH.
But they know where to be found.
Exactly. Right.
Second I get them, I will definitely let you know.
Yeah, and I'm also concerned with the CB2 staff. I want to make sure they have masks as well as they have testing available inside the office.
They did give us the Borough President's office did give us about 200 testing kits, home testing kits. It was gone within 2 hours. At my office, did a giveaway. It was gone within 2 hours. So we're trying to get some of that as well.
Thank you. The other question I had was, do we know anything about open meeting laws yet, or it's not up yet?
Yeah. So I wasn't there last week. I had COVID again for the second time. Yeah, again. So I was not there for conference last week. But there is some. We're going to be doing that next week. I spoke with some members from the assembly today. And we'll be the written form is still being worked out, but it's going to be something that will be up for a vote in the next week or the following week. But it's going to happen. I'd be very surprised if it didn't happen.
All right, thank you so much, Assembly Member.
My pleasure.
Roz, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, just following up on exactly that point. You say it's going to happen. Any idea what it would be?
Well, as I just said, I don't have the language in front of me because they're still working on the language. But the executive order of the governor expires, I believe, the 15th.
Right.
For us. So I would assume it would be done before the 15th. Never say never in Albany, but I would assume it would allow, again, I don't have the language and that's what I said before, but I would assume it would allow for meetings to take place remotely.
Yes, I guess what I would say is I hope it's not just the legislature, but
I don't believe so.
people
No,
like
I believe,
us. Yeah.
yes, I
very
believe
important.
it was not just the legislature. Again, I don't have the language, but from my conversations today, it would be more than the legislature.
Thank you, Brian.
No problem.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay. I am going to circle back to,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And feel better.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And don't get it again. Don't get it again.
You know, I better have the best immunity out of all time here because this is ridiculous.
Right?
Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, stay well. I just want to circle back because Councilmember Juan's rep, Farah, is here and I skipped her, so I apologize.
Not a problem. Good evening, everyone. My name is Farah. I am the district manager for District 26 for Councilmember Julie Wan. And just I'm to seeing you all or meeting every month. The chat and how to contact us. Apologies if there was any, if you had contacted us earlier this week, if there was a delay as we had just gotten the city council email a few days ago. But we're excited to serve and be here for everybody in the district. And I'm putting everything in the chat again right here. So, thank you.
Maury, moving forward, Farah will be providing the district briefings as well as answering any questions and providing feedback and playbacks of anything that we're hearing on the pulse on the ground from constituent services as well, so that everyone can be aware of the things that are most urgent and giving updates as well, like the update that I gave from H&H and the health department today. So we'll continue to keep you posted. And Maury, I hear you about the masks, N95 masks. We had applied, especially for Sunnyside Community Services, to receive. And I believe that we are going to continue to push. I think the last time I talked to Judy Zangwell, she did qualify and her organization was supposed to receive. So I'll follow up to make sure that they're getting adequate supply of masks, because we were told that we were not going to get the amount of home test kits that we had requested. So I'll keep you posted on that. And once we receive them, I'll make sure that the CB2 office is on the list for distribution as well, so that you are able to receive it to keep the office safe.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. And yeah, any other CBOs that you can help get them, especially, you know, in other parts of the district. I know you're on top of that, so we'd be grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. All righty. So now we can move to public comment from the folks who signed up. And it's all, who's first?
We're starting with the Seth. Seth Slade.
Welcome, Seth Slade.
Good evening. Can everyone hear?
Yes.
Yes, I want to wish Happy New Year to everyone, and I hope everyone is continuing to stay safe and healthy during our challenging times. So thanks everyone for your continued work. I just have a question about the bylaws committee, working group, or task force. It was mentioned at several meetings working on the bylaws. I asked the office and I did get an acknowledgement of my request, but didn't get the information. So here are my questions. I'll post them in the chat when I'm done. Who are the members of this bylaws group? That's 1. 2, when do they have public meetings? And if not, why not? 3, how can members of the public submit proposals or suggestions to this committee? And lastly, what timelines have been set for submitting proposals to the full board? Because as all of you know, various suggestions have been delayed. So I'd like to get a public record of what the timeline is, and I'll post these questions in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Seth. I actually was going to address this in my report, but I will address this part right now, just since it's come up now. So So the bylaws revision task force technically is a working group or a task force, not a committee, and it's a temporary working group. It was initially started, as you know, in 2021 to review the current bylaws and provide recommendations for revision. The task force is currently working with the Borough President's Council. Currently, the council, I spoke with the council yesterday. The council is still working on comments and feedback for us, so we don't have it back yet. We're waiting for that. When we have that back, we'll be able to develop our schedule for 2022. And the members have just been confirmed, everybody this week, I believe. I have to check with the chair people of the task force to ensure that. But as soon as we have that schedule and we confirm all the members, then we're going to post that on the CB2 website, along with information on how the public can participate. Essentially, the bylaws task force is completely open, like all meetings, to the public, and we welcome people to observe those meetings. Now, these meetings are designed as working meetings, so the majority of the meeting will be time for the task force to work together. I will recommend that there be allotted some time for input from community members, but we also will have, as part of the schedule, a public hearing on the bylaws committee, on the bylaws working group. So at the time of when the work has been completed, that all will be made public, the final bylaws that are proposed. And then the public hearing will give the opportunity to the public to give feedback on it before the full board votes on it. Additionally, anyone at any time can always contact the board office to get information to the working group, to get information to the office, et cetera. And we are actually working on updating the website. I'll talk about that a little bit more in my report, but we will have a contact form on there to make it more streamlined and easy to communicate right from the website. But we'll get into a little bit more of that later. I hope that answers some of your questions.
I appreciate the efforts, but basically your answers are, we're working on it, we'll have more information soon. So I continue to be frustrated that I am told each month, we're working on it, we're working on it. And at this point, I'd like some commitment, and I think the public deserves commitment that there will be a vote on the bylaws by June. Because when I applied for CB2 for the second time last year, and in my rejection letter, Borough President Richard said, your participation would be appreciated as a public member of a committee. And I've been trying, it's almost a year now, and I don't feel we've made progress. So at some point, we need to have someone say the bylaws will be voted on by June, because it was supposed to be, I mean, Lisa told me it was supposed to be last fall. So I appreciate your efforts. I understand government works slowly, but there needs to be a deadline to make this happen.
I appreciate what you're saying, Seth. I totally understand what you're saying. But I have to explain that there is a process, and part of that process is out of our hands. The bylaws are right now at the council's office. We can't make a schedule until we know what we even see, what comes back to us. And so, you know, maybe we'll be lucky and we'll get that back, and we'll be able to vote on it very quickly. Otherwise, we may have to have scheduled meetings, and then it goes to the executive committee. The executive committee reviews it and eventually goes to the full board. We can outline and have our schedule, which will be posted to the website, but there is a process, and democracy is not efficient. We all know that. It's one of the inherent challenges with democracy, that you want to include and give people an opportunity to give feedback and to decide if they're going to vote yay or nay on certain aspects, and that takes time. There's a back and forth. Even just the process of allowing or encouraging the public to give feedback and to comment on it is important, and that will take an extra meeting. So I just want to make clear, we're not stonewalling and we're not trying to avoid anything. It's just that we don't even have the bylaws back yet. So we can't make a schedule until we have it and know what we're looking at. But thank you very much for your feedback and your comments, and we're working on it. I appreciate it. You're continuing to come up, show up, and let us know your thoughts. Thank you. Who is next? Anatole?
Wayne Jones.
Oh, Wayne Jones. Wayne Jones. Mr. Jones.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome. Thanks. So my name is Wayne Jones, and I'm a resident based in Long Island City, Queens. I've recently tested positive for COVID, but currently recovering from it. And I'm speaking today to talk about the New York City Test and Trace Corps. Since I live alone with no family to go out to get food or medication from me, after testing positive, I decided to call the COVID Test and Trace hotline to sign up for the COVID hotel isolation program. After a very long hold time over multiple days, I didn't get in touch with anybody, and I left a message on the system December 30th, 2021. And to this day, no contact tracer has reached out to me to provide hotel accommodations or even provide the Take Care package, which comes with masks, wipes, and other stuff. On social media, New Yorkers are experiencing up to 9 days before a contact tracer even reaches out to them. Some even reporting that the hotels are fully accommodated due to the Omicron surge. The failure of the New York City Test and Trace Corps only snowballs and adds to the current problem we face to this day. Long Island City ranks one of the highest in positivity rates in the city, with about a 1 in 4 chance of someone having COVID. But I'm not here to complain, but I'm here to provide an initiative that our community board can take to make sure that this failure shall never happen again with any future surges. Community board 2 can pledge or figure out a plan where we can, 1, utilize existing hotels within our district to add to the number of available hotel rooms for the New York City COVID isolation program. In June 2020, it was reported that there are only 1,200 rooms for this program, and I'm not sure if anything's changed for that. Number 2, we can write to the New York City Council, the mayor, and New York City Health and Hospitals to refactor the COVID Alert New York app so that someone who tests positive can share their close contact codes without the need of a contact tracer. Putting the code on the testing results that people get back would cut out the middleman situation and would allow New Yorkers to quickly be informed when they come across a person who have recently tested positive. And 3, write to New York City Council, the mayor, and New York City Health and Hospitals, tell them that we need an online portal for these specific things. An online portal where people can sign up to report a positive case of COVID from their home self-test kits, an online portal where people can do their pre-screening for the COVID isolation hotel program, an online portal to sign up to get a—
Wayne, please wrap up. Your 2 minutes are up.
I'm sorry, almost finished. An online portal to get a Take Care package sent to their homes, and an online portal to have a home test kit sent to the home free of charge. And that's pretty much what I've had in terms of like the initiatives that this community board can take.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I know you were in touch with us when it first happened on social, and that was me that was connecting with you. So I appreciate your input. I actually personally tried to reach the Test and Trace 3 times over the past week, and I never even got a chance to leave a message. It would transfer to somewhere else, and then it would subsequently disconnect me. I spent over an hour on the phone one day trying to do it, just to see what the process was like that you were going through, and hopefully to see if I could even reach somebody to figure out what you could do, or if there was another way to reach out. Because I wanted to experience it as you or any other person would experience if they were calling, or if I called. I think there's a couple of things immediately that we could look into. One, Debbie, if Mr. Jones contacts the office, is there a way that we could reach out to the appropriate group on Test and Trace to see if he can get connected?
Well, Wayne, if you can send us an email with everything that you stated tonight, that would be terrific. I'll be happy to send it over to the mayor's office to see if we can get an answer for you.
If you can provide the email in the chat.
Sure.
We'll do that.
Absolutely.
We'll drop that in. We'll drop that in. And also, if any of the electeds that are still on, or their reps who can intervene in any way, we'd be grateful. And then I guess the third thing, I said 2 things, but the third thing would be to have our health committee look into this and maybe draft a letter or do something. Is Ty here? Okay.
I did not see her yet, no.
Okay, so let's make sure this gets, let's make sure, okay. So let's make sure the health committee pops onto this. We definitely have health committee folks here. So let's do that, great. Thank you. Did anybody have questions for Mr. Jones?
The next meeting, if I could just comment on health and human services and education, is going to be, we've already had our January meeting, so it'll be a while. I think working through the office is perhaps, and with the electeds, is the best method. I think there's a consensus. I mean, it'll go to our committee and we're going to come back to this full board and say, yes, you should be doing this.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, what did you self-test? Is that what happened?
For me, I had to go out and get a test. So I went to, I guess, I actually had to go in the city because all the locations at the time in LIC were pretty booked. So I had to go out into the city, get a test, and that's how I found out I was positive.
Got it. Because I know that one of the big challenges, of course, is people who are doing the at-home tests. The city doesn't even know, and the state doesn't know unless someone self-reports. So if you can't even get through to self-report, their numbers are off. So yeah, there's a big issue here. So
yeah, exactly. And I also don't know if it falls under your jurisdiction about maybe if we can utilize existing hotels in our district to add to the number of COVID isolation hotel rooms. That'd be great. But
yeah, all these are great ideas. I don't know all the parameters for them all, but this is great feedback. Please definitely send that into the office so the office can share that with the mayor's office and our local electeds and the health committee so that we can get involved in this more. And thanks for coming. Is this your first meeting or have you been here before?
No, it's my first meeting after living 6 years here in Long Island City.
Well, welcome and keep coming back.
Thank you.
Please. Thanks. All right, fantastic. I think we also, is Pramit the last person for public comment? Pramit, welcome. Happy New Year.
Hey, Maury, how's it going? Nice everyone, my name is, nice to see you. Hey everyone, my name is Pramit Kumar and I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. I grew up in Queens and Forest Hills and I've lived there most of my life, but I actually recently moved to Long Island City, which I'm super excited about. And I'm hoping to get involved with the local community here over time. So in Forest Hills, I'm actually part of the local community board there. That's Queens CB6. And I currently serve as the vice chair in charge of land use and housing. And I know CB2 has plenty of its own interesting land use activities going on. So I'm looking forward to learning more about those. But I just wanted to say hello, good to meet you all. And I'm excited to learn more about this community and to get involved. And there's already been a lot of great discussion here tonight that I've been privileged to be able to listen in on.
Thanks, Pramit. Don't be a stranger. Looking forward to working with you. Awesome. And do we have anybody else on at all? Any other public comment people?
Nope.
No, okay, so that's it. That's it for public comment. We're going to move on now from our public part of the meeting and move into the business part of the meeting. And I'm going to do things a little differently from here on. I want to make a clear delineation between the public part of the meeting and the working part of the meeting where the board does its business, which during this part, we welcome the public to observe us deliberating and working, and we will do the business of the board. And that's why we have the public part at the beginning, of course, so then we can move into this. So to do that, I want to do it officially and follow procedure. So to move into the working part, the business part of the meeting, I would like, can somebody make a motion to move to the board business meeting?
Maury, I
I'm
can
going to make a motion to close this part of the meeting. Somebody needs a second.
I second it.
All right, all in
Lisa
favor?
proposed, Norberto second. Anyone not in favor of the motion? Okay, great, motion passes. Maury, you really can't make a motion until we take attendance.
Okay.
So I'm sorry about
could
that.
I, since we did have the motion, would you please just explain to me so I can put it in the minutes what the motion stated? We are moving from public comment to
Board business.
Thank you.
And it doesn't really need an official motion. It's on the agenda. Hey, Raj, you want to take attendance?
Indeed, I do. So, Amparo Abelbey.
Present.
Anatol Ashraf.
Present.
Carisha Batan.
Here.
Nick Berkowitz.
Here.
Sandra Begitchka.
Here.
Kat Bloomfield. Danielle
Absent.
Brecker.
Present.
Johanna Carmona. Gianna
Joanna?
Sabone.
Absent.
Yeah. Tanya Chavez.
Wait, I'm here. Selena Romero, I'm here.
We didn't call you, Selena, yet.
We haven't
Oh,
called
okay.
you, but glad you're here.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. Okay, so we had Tanya Chavez, you're here.
I'm here, Ross.
Hi, and Osman Chaudhry.
Happy New Year, I'm here.
Thank you. Stephen Cooper.
I'm here.
Warren Davis.
Present.
Jake DeGroot.
Here.
Lisa Deller.
Here.
Sally Frank. Sally was here.
I did see her, she talked.
Well, we'll come back to her.
She's still on the participants list. She's just muted.
Yeah, Maury Gallinoy.
Present.
William Garrett.
Absent.
Somnath Gamir.
Absent.
Present.
Somnath, you here?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here.
great. Okay, thank you,
Happy New Year.
Somnath.
Just got here, huh? I'm here. Camille Gray.
Here.
I saw her. Yes.
I'm here.
Kenneth Greenberg,
Here.
Ben Gutman,
Here.
Christine Hunter,
Here.
Mohammed Chowdhury Jewel, absent. Badrun Khan.
Here, Roz.
Still here, good. Sheila Lewandowski.
Absent, excused.
Oh, excused, okay. Dominic Lapolis.
Absent.
Kristen McGowan.
I'm here.
Ty McShane. Absent.
Absent.
Thomas Matuzis.
Thank you, present. Thank you.
Clara Oza.
I saw Clara. Clara, you here? Clara?
We'll come back.
Clara Oza.
Elliot Park.
Clara's out.
Elliot Park is absent. Carla Perez. Absent. Stephen Raga.
Here.
Selena Romero. Here, right? Speak up, Selena.
Selena, now's your turn to say it. You're here.
Hi, I'm here.
Good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Catherine Sabal. Absent. Norberto Saldana.
Here.
Regina Shanley. Absent. Laura Shepard.
Present.
Lawrence Springer.
Here.
Mary Torres.
Here.
Anthony Tudela.
Here.
John Vicunis.
Here.
Adrian Varelli. Absent. Frank Wu. Frank, you were here before. Are you here?
I saw Frank here.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Franks, what about Sally Frank?
Frank is here and Sally Frank, they're both on mute. They are both here.
Sally posted in the
chat. Okay.
Yeah, I just see I'm here.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and
Got
Frank
her.
is here too.
Yes, yep. All right. And the other person was Clara Oza. You were here. Are you here?
Clara, I don't see anymore. I think she's gone.
So if somebody has been visibly present and participating,
They have to be here for attendance.
They have to be here during the attendance.
Correct. Clara is now officially marked absent.
Well, that's a little unfortunate, I think. It's too bad. Okay, anyway, I think we have a quorum. Do we have some
You have a
numbers
quorum.
here? Phew, got an awful lot of absent. Okay, let's go.
Rosamond, to address your concern, that is up to the chair as to how he wants to run the agenda for the meeting. He can obviously take attendance at 6:30 if he wanted, or he could take attendance at 10:30 if he wants. And that's something that we have to work out as to what is a reasonable time to expect people to be here by and to still be here, okay?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we need to figure something out. Thank you, Stephen.
Okay. So now we need to move on to the approval of the December minutes, right?
Correct.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from December.
I will second it.
Is anyone opposed?
I'll second.
Somebody said something. Who made the motion? I have Steve as the second.
I made the motion.
Thank you.
And there's no opposition? Seeing none, it appears the minutes have been approved.
Excellent.
Okay. So we will move on to the chairperson's report. Sorry? Did I miss something? Okay, so we will move on to the chairperson's report. Couple of updates here. The CB2, we had representatives, myself and Debbie, went to the groundbreaking for the new school at 5316 Northern Boulevard, which is going to be a tremendous building. It's unfortunate, of course, that the construction had to kick out the wonderful testing location that was right on Northern Boulevard, especially as the surge came. But the school construction is moving forward, and that ribbon cutting, that groundbreaking, I'm not sure. Debbie, did they say how long it was good with the proposed timeline for the construction?
2 years, 2024.
Okay, thank you. And we also went to the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Sunnyside Community Services new location at Hunters Point South. Lisa Deller was there. I was there. Who else from the community board was there, Lisa? I can't remember. Was it just us?
I think it was just us. I mean, there were a lot of elected officials.
Yeah.
It was really pretty, it's a gorgeous space. It's going to house their home health aid worker program. So that'll be great.
And they had some community space, and they actually invited us if we ever need to use it for board committee meetings, we could use it, and it has a beautiful view of the skyline. So maybe we'll take them up on that when it's safe. All right. Also, I wanted to mention we're working on the website to try to update it a little bit, move some content around, make it a little easier and clearer to read things. We're going to be adding we're going to have a digital newsletter, and we're going to invite everybody to subscribe. Well, we should have a link on there coming very soon so that you can subscribe. But we're also going to have the tech committee, Anatol's chair, Anatol Ashraf, is going to have a working group to work on reworking the website. So they're going to start and work on developing new content and moving some content around to make it as clear and user-friendly as possible. Get some old content off, make it easier to find meeting links and other content. And that is already started, but the working group will start and make a plan, and that'll take a while because anybody who's ever been involved in a website update. This is not a redesign. It's not a new website. It's just a content audit and update. And as I mentioned before, the business section of the meeting, we're going to delineate the public part from the business section. I like to do the motion to move out of the public just for clarity. So I also already mentioned the working group task force for the bylaws, so I'm going to skip that. Also, the YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel. We invite people to subscribe to it. All of our meetings for the board, these full board meetings, are recorded, and then they are uploaded usually within about a week to the YouTube channel. So if you ever miss a meeting, if you're a member of the public or you want to go back and see something, it's there. And there also are transcripts available through Block Party, which is a separate not-for-profit group that scrapes through technologically through the YouTube videos and then creates a transcript for it. So I encourage everybody from the public to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once we actually get, I think it's 100 subscribers, we will actually then be able to have a short link. So it'll be like youtube.com CB2 Queens or something like that, which will make it a lot easier for people to remember and get to. But we need like 100, I think it's 100, right, Anatol? 100 subscribers?
Yep.
Okay.
And we're at 45, so almost there. Almost.
Not too far. Yeah. If everybody on here right now signed up, I think we would have it. Yeah, that's and our next meeting for the full board will be February the 3rd. And of course, it'll be on Zoom, we expect. We expect that the open meetings law change will be extended. And I know a lot of us are eager to be in person or hybrid, but especially with this new variant and how contagious it is, it looks like we're going to continue virtual for at least the near term. All right. So moving on.
I have a question.
I have a question.
Wait, hang on a second. I got one more thing to say. The one thing I forgot was we're looking at ways to process the data from complaints that come into the office. Roz, is there a dog there? Can we see the dog? Oh, okay. Yeah, so we definitely want to, hey, Tuppy, we want to know and assess the kinds of complaints we're getting in. And because we don't get that data from 311, we are getting some of the data from our own calls that come into our office. And we have a little bit of preliminary data right now that we can share. Most of the calls that came in last month in December, the last month of the year, were related to drag racing and issues like that. Debbie, what was the other? Drag racing? What was the other one?
Hang on, I'm going to tell you. Illegally parked vehicles, derelict vehicles, drag racing. Those were the top complaints that kind of came in for this month. And then, go ahead, Maury.
No, I was going to say, I think you told me there was a decrease in calls for December, maybe because of
yes, due to the holidays and I guess with the uptick in coronaviruses, those were the concerns. But we did have other complaints on flooding, sanitation, lots of homeless encampments. We work with Street to Home and PD trying to do that. We're hoping with the mayor talking today about, getting more enforcement. Hopefully that will help our community as well. We had some DOB complaints and some pigeon feeding complaints and some sanitation complaints, garbage cans, et cetera, et cetera. People have requested some garbage cans, which they can only put on a route if it's on an existing route. So we have that. So I want to say our complaints were down for the month of December. We had about 50. We are down again. I just want to remind everybody, please be patient. We are down an employee who calculated all of these complaints. So we're working on getting you all the updates that you request and require.
Great. And you can always go to the website. Well, soon we'll have a contact form on there so people will be able to make complaints through the website. Otherwise, you can email the office or phone the office directly. Can we drop the phone number and email into the chat? Okay. Amparo.
Thank you, Maury, for mentioning the office ticketing transparency. I think metrics should be reported out each month by the district manager at these meetings. My question is, I want to know a little bit more about the tech committee's survey about our meeting format, if those results will be shared with us by the February meeting.
Yes, I would. That's the intention. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, we can share it either way, whether we have all the responses or not. We can share that. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I know the office is doing a lot with limited technology in terms of we don't have like a official software or ticketing system, so it's all done manually. And because again, we don't have 311 doesn't share their data with us. There is open data rules but it's just a big raw file. And I tried to process some on my own just to see. You can get a little idea, but the Beta NYC website also has some data that you can look at in that. Yeah, but thank you.
I had a question. Yeah. I wanted to know if it would be possible to subscribe also to the calendar for the community board, because it's a lot easier than going manually and then bringing the Zoom link and so on.
You can do that. You can do that if you use.
I tried to, and it told me I wasn't allowed.
No, you can subscribe to it. Is anyone else subscribed to the calendar?
Yes.
Just go on our website and you just pull up the calendar, go on the day, and when you go on the day, you'll see the meeting notice and just click on it and it'll take you right in.
Yeah, but no, but Debbie.
No, there's a subscription link. There's a
subscribe, so it will go right onto my Google.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, Roz.
But well, then I'll have to get some help with it, because I tried to do it by naming the calendar, and it came up and it said you're not allowed.
We'll follow up with you. We'll
you.
definitely follow up. Yeah, because you should be able to do that. I think Jake just said that he was able to do it. So we'll do that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm done. It's now our district manager's report.
Continuing on. And yes, Amparo, we will work to give you comprehensive updates as they come in. The city of New York doesn't have a comprehensive way for community boards to do that. So we calculate them ourselves. We track every complaint. We have a file on every complaint. The only difference is, unless the constituents calls us back or the agency gives us an update that they've taken care of the problem, there's not always a way to know. Not every complaint is closed out the way we would like to see it, but we do follow up and try to make sure. And certainly if something's not taken care of, they will let us know right away. So
thank you for that update.
We can. And I want to, while we're on that topic, I just want to remind board members, that's what we're here for. If you see a light out, if you see a pothole, we've been having Marianne and myself, and Marianne's on here as well. We're interviewing for a job position. So when we go through what the community board office does and how we do it, it's important to know that we call in the 311 complaints. We interact with constituents. So it's important that all of our board members here, and there's only a handful that do call us and give us the complaints. Like our chairperson, Maury, says all the time, people have to know where to go to call in complaints. When you see a pothole, you see a tree down, you have a complaint, you call that in, you've made a difference in someone's life so that they don't fall in a pothole and get hurt and they don't break a leg. And when you call that in and you see that fixed and you know that we've done it, the council person's done it, our elected officials, we all work together, that it's important to make sure that those complaints are put in and that you see a result that we've all made a difference. Each one of you have made a difference. So I say thank you to all of you and remind you, call us, send us emails, send us the pictures. Agency wants to see pictures. So let me just finish the report.
Add to Debbie's comment very briefly. A number of years ago, I saw an ice slick on Northern Boulevard because there was a hydrant leaking. It became an ice situation. I called it into the community board. The community board called it into the city. About 30 days later, or a few days later, a friend of mine had a car accident on there and got seriously hurt. And the only reason they were able to collect against the city is the fact that the city had notice.
So we do make a difference. Roz, you had your hand up too? Thank you, Steve. Roz, you're on mute.
My hand needs to come down, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, just to give you a couple more things, I don't want to belabor anything. CB2 attended the Blissville Triangle Community Input Meeting with Parks and our former councilman, Jimmy Van Bramer. It was on Zoom with Parks. They just gave us some input to the design. I know, Tom, this is near and dear to your heart, and we continue to plug forward. Parks is working on that design. And as always, we've asked for the benches with the arms so that we people cannot sleep on those benches. Not that they do or they don't, but we historically has always asked for benches with arms to make sure that that happens. So we had some input. As soon as they have a comprehensive design, they will come back to the community. We attended a street renaming for the former board member and community activist, Tony Mazzarella. And that was very nice. The former councilman made sure that sign went up, and that's where the old crab house used to be. Which was very nice and heartwarming. Again, follow our Facebook, follow our websites. We are working very hard to work with all of you to get what the job at hand done and to make sure that we try to come into the next century and our website is flush and our Facebook. And if you notice, I've been posting a lot more information as it comes into us, as well as looking for the information from all of the city agencies. So you will, you know, if you haven't noticed, take a note that we've been posting a lot more frequently, and we're going to continue to do so. And again, like our chairperson said, we are updating the website. If you go on there today, Chairman, you forgot to, I will just remind you that in his mentioning, he forgot to mention that we did update each committee, and posted, you will see the chair of each committee and the members. If you are looking to be on a committee, if you are looking to change your committee or go on another committee, please contact the board office and our chairperson, Maury, and we will work with you to see where you fit. Some of the committees may need some new blood, new people. So please reach out to our chairman, Maury, and let him have a conversation with you so that you can become more active on the committees. So, and again, I thank you every day. I appreciate all of you. And please make sure that you let us know. You have a complaint, give it to us. We'll call it in and make sure we try to follow up.
Yeah, and I would only add to that, Debbie, that all of the board members should also make your neighbors and anyone around you know that the board is here for you. I really, really want to make sure that we are engaging with the community as much as possible, and that everybody knows that we're here and they can call us up and call the board office up to reach out and address any kind of issue, whether it's a leaky roof, whether there's that the landlord's not dealing with, my personal situation, or whether there are other issues with road issues like Steve was mentioning, or any kind of issue that you're concerned about, even if you're not sure whether it's something we can do or not. But pretty much if it's something to do with a city agency, Debbie and her staff can help, or the board staff can help.
Thank you, Chairman. I have just one more statement. We have a fabulous staff. They're working above and beyond because we are a little short-staffed, but they are working extremely hard. Marianne, I appreciate her being on here tonight. She takes notes to make sure that the minutes are good as well. But also what I'd like to say is that it's important for you to realize and understand that we all are here to work together for our community, as Maury said. And again, I thank you for all your support, and working together is very important. We need to make sure that all of the services that we are entitled to from the City of New York, with our elected officials, with our agencies, that they do work with us and work with us as well as can be inspected. Thank you. Carisha, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, thanks, Deb. Thanks for everything you guys are doing. I just wanted to double check when I see something on Facebook and then I want to try and send it to the CB2 Facebook page. It doesn't allow me to post it. So I think you probably have to like vet it first. So then I just constantly try to send it through Messenger, and I just wanted to double check if you guys see the messages that come through Messenger, because that's almost like equivalent to a
sometimes I do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Is there
but when you send it to the board office, sometimes it's easier to post it from there.
Oh, well, because sometimes when I see it show up as a Facebook post, like in different community Facebook groups, I want to just like forward it within the Facebook platform because I don't necessarily.
We don't allow that. We don't allow that because then we could be photobombed and whoever.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is sometimes when the message is seen, then it's able to get posted by you guys to the CB2 Facebook page because it's vetted. But when I see information on Facebook that I want to share with the page, it doesn't always necessarily allow me to like download it, turn it to a PDF, and then attach it to an email to the office, which then you would download and then try to make a Facebook post. So I'm wondering if maybe Tech Committee could help make that a safe, streamlined process, because I know a lot of news and information gets shared through Facebook that I think would be great if it can also be pushed out to the CB2 Facebook page. But I didn't want to like make it too confusing.
Risha, I got a question. So are you saying that you want something to get shared by the office and you want to share it with us? Is that right?
Specifically when I see something on the Facebook platform that I think should be also posted on the CB2 Facebook page. That's all I'm referring to.
Oh, got it. So yeah, you can yeah, because they make it hard to like copy it and then email it and then say share this. I think, I'm not an expert on Facebook, but yeah, maybe the Tech Committee can do it. Maybe we can set it up, Debbie, so that anything that comes through is
talk
moderated.
about this offline. I don't think this is the appropriate forum. You know.
Sure. I just wanted to flag it. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Carisha, we'll take
All right,
a look.
we'll figure something out. Great. Camille.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the comments and just had a clarifying question. One thing I've observed in LIC is that dog poop is everywhere. Certainly seeing people complain about it in different Facebook forums. And it doesn't seem like it's something that needs immediate attention, from the city. So I'm not sure what to do with that. Should I just call the office? Should I refer this to a group or a committee? I feel like this is something that we as a community board need to be thoughtful about, and we need more attention from the city overall on. So can you advise on what the best approach is there?
Just email the office and we're happy to see what we can do about any issue that you have.
And then I guess what will happen, or is it that I guess I'm not clear on what then happens.
What happens for what? Someone calls the office, you want to know how a complaint gets put in?
Yeah, or then like what happens?
Like, is dog poop on the sidewalk a DOT thing?
It's an enforcement issue. So Camille, I know like for parks, like sometimes there's owners that allow dogs to come off their leash, right? And it's become an issue where I know like the office.
It's actually a sanitation issue. Yeah, it falls, Frank, it falls under sanitation, DOS. However, I don't know. Yes, it's a law. Yes, we can call it in. I don't know. I think they have to see the dog in action. I think that they have to, there's a multiple of things that have to occur. So I don't know how enforced that subject is, but if you see it in progress, call 311, call our office. We're happy to take the complaint, pass it to sanitation, and have them look into it. And we'll send sanitation enforcement. And if it's someone that's a reoccurring person, if it's every day at 8 a.m., every day at 10 a.m., we will tell sanitation enforcement the exact location, the corner, the location, where this is occurring. We will give it to them, and it's up to them to send out their enforcement unit.
And I think that's helpful clarification, because this is not an enforcement type issue, but it's like a quality of life type issue. So happy to follow up after the fact. And just reading the comments, I don't think it's a dog issue. I think it's like a people issue. But happy to take this offline. But I don't think that would not result in an outcome that I would view as helpful or satisfactory, or, you know, as making a difference. And it's not.
And Debbie, and
issue.
please, it's Tom Matusas. I would offer that there might be some proactive things that we can do as well, and maybe you know, gear up with those stations with the dog, you know, the bags available with the station. Maybe we could provide something to the area that can help encourage people to, you know, scoop up after the dog. So maybe there's different ways of dealing with this, and not just enforcement, but attacking it differently as well.
Completely agree. So what, I guess the question still is, you know, what do I, like, should I have made a public comment this evening? Like, what do I do to?
No, send us an email with the information, and then, you know, we'll have a conversation.
Okay, thank you.
And I will share that with our chair, and we'll go from there.
Perfect, thank you.
Lisa, did you have a question?
No, I just had a comment about Camille's comment. I mean, it's such a pervasive issue. You know, signage, you know, building signage. I mean, you really need to see particular locations. If there's a reoccurring location that you walk by, is it something a building owner could put signage up for? Or, you know, could we get signage from, you know, maybe it is DOT, or, you know, or sanitation to put up, or building owners to put up signage around curbing your dog. And I mean, I've seen in Sunnyside all over. It's just that it's out of, people don't think about curbing their dog anymore. I mean, it's kind of just out of control.
Did we lose you?
No, I don't. Can you hear me?
I think Lisa disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just such a pervasive issue.
She's still
I've seen in Sunnyside.
You can still hear her,
Long
Maury.
Island.
Well, she'll come back at us.
We can hear her, Maury. Yeah, we can hear her.
All right. Debbie,
So
are you finished with
anyway,
your
I just
report?
wanted to share that because I think it's all over.
Yeah, okay. So we're moving on to committee reports.
No, I had my hand up.
Roz has her
So
hand up.
first we have Transportation Committee.
Very briefly, just I wanted to say, in line with what Carisha was saying about Facebook, ditto our Twitter feed. I find.
Right, so everybody can hear everybody, but I can't hear anybody.
You can't hear? Well,
I cannot hear anybody. All right. Debbie, can you take over until I figure out what's going on with my audio?
Okay, sure. Roz,
ditto the Twitter feed. Are we monitoring it at all?
We're still waiting for Twitter. It should come, hopefully, tell us that we're okay. Our team had put in we had an issue. It was mentioned before with our email on Twitter. So it's still being worked on. As soon as it's all clear, we will have our Twitter account up.
Oh, because I've been posting to the Twitter account all the time. Lots. I'm surprised. Oh, well. Not sure what, I'm just saying that it's, I'm trying to do it to draw attention to the board, to show the community that we are here and are doing stuff.
Well, it's great that you have access. So maybe you're the one that has our email address attached to it, but we'll take it offline. Thank you, Roz. Thanks for the update. Okay, city planning, you are next. Lisa, you are first vice, yes?
No.
Lisa, you're on mute.
Isn't Frank first
Frank
vice
is.
Oh, yes, Frank is first vice. You know, Frank officially, I guess, until Maury comes back and figures out what he's doing, even though he asked me to take over. The next item on our list is city planning, Teal Dallas.
Okay, great. Thanks, Debbie.
Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to start off with some updates on the citywide text amendments. The health and fitness, as well as the hotel text amendments, were adopted by the city council recently. but we're still waiting on open restaurants to go through city council. So I don't have any news there yet. Speaking of open restaurants though, I just wanted to give an update on DOT engagement. DOT has posted an online survey online, and when I'm done with my report, I'll put the link in the chat. But please go ahead and take that online survey when you get a chance. DOT will also be hosting virtual public roundtables sometime in February. They haven't posted those dates yet or links yet, but I can, again, post the website in the chat so you can keep an eye out for when those are posted. In addition to the public roundtables, DOT will be hosting topic-based roundtables with restaurant and professional design groups specifically. And I also had found out that some of the engagement that's happening this month and next month is just the first round of design engagement. In a few months, DOT will release very preliminary design guidelines, and they'll continue to engage with the community through the summer and the fall. And moving on to applications, I just have one application update tonight. There's a development that TF Cornerstone has been working on in the Newtown Creek subdistrict. This is a project that will eventually include 3 residential towers with approximately 1,300 residential dwelling units and approximately 104,000 square feet of active and passive open space. Since the Newtown Creek subdistrict is part of the special Southern Hunters Point district, this is not a ULURP action. It's not going to come to the community board. It's just a series of certifications to make sure that they're meeting their private street, open space, and waterfront requirements. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that that application has been reviewed by our chair of the City Planning Commission, and we're expecting sign off very soon. That's all of my updates tonight, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Teal, I have a question about, there was a notice that the community board received about the TF Cornerstone project about remediation, and Frank and we had been talking about there's a children's playground not far from there, and the concern is always about vehicular transport of debris and dirt and kind of particulate matter in the air. And so we want to make sure that TF Cornerstone is aware, as they were aware when they were building out at Hunters Point South, that we have tremendous concerns around those issues. So if city planning has anything to say on that, I just want to add that to your list of things to talk to them about. And I think that we're going to want them to come to community board to address those issues as well.
So do you mean, just to clarify, Lisa, do you mean remediation during the time of construction, given the proximity to this playground?
Correct.
Sure. Yeah, I'm in touch with them. I can let them know. And I mean, you all are quite familiar with TF Cornerstone too. I definitely recommend, reaching out as you need, because I know you have those contacts, and I can let them know though what we just spoke about tonight, and hopefully they'll follow through on that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Frank, did you have anything more to add about that?
No, no, thanks, Lisa. I was gonna bring it up. Yeah, it's literally right across from the site, so it's 10 feet away. It's near like the elementary school, so as the weather gets warmer, I can see people there. So it's just, there's a lot of things in the environmental report, so just want to make them to be aware of it, right? Since there's a lot of talk about containing the materials within the ground of the building, but then the playground's right next door. So but we'll reach out to TF Cornerstone, and yeah, thanks for bringing up to them as well.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
I'm back. Sorry, Teal. Sorry for skipping you. Oh my gosh.
Can you hear us now? Is it all?
I can hear.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I needed the tech to be here.
Steve has a question.
Steve.
Yeah, Teal, I know that the community board we don't have a ULURP responsibility in any way for what goes on at the waterfront now. When they first started developing, we had a very major role. Then it became a fact that we could sit in a waiting room when Empire State Development had their meetings. What exactly is our role now? Do we have any? I mean, if they're going to be doing a proposal, I know we don't have the right to veto it. I know we don't have the right to say what we want or what changes we want, but do we even have a right to hear what they're going to do before it gets approved by, I mean, I guess city planning doesn't have a right either, do they?
Not for this particular waterfront certification, because the public review for the site went when the Special Southern Hunters Point District was set up back in 2008. And so that was like considered the public review for the site. And these are all follow-up actions. If we were to do like a waterfront site though, that was a rezoning, that would be ULURP because it would include a ULURP action. So I think the answer is it just depends on the site. The site isn't necessarily typical.
I'm talking about within that district. The city has no role whatsoever anymore, correct? Not just us, but you.
Correct. Yes,
Well,
once the certification signed off, then it just goes into construction.
Hold on.
Roz, are you raising your hand?
Yeah, yes, I am. This is along the line of what Lisa and Frank were saying, and probably not pertinent to this particular location, but during construction, apparently this stirs up all the rats and rodents nests. So for instance, on 45th Street in Sunnyside, where they have composting, people think it's the composting, but apparently there's construction sites. Do we have any, is there any way to control that and to ask that when they do construction that is handled better?
That's another concern I can pass on to the team. It's not something that I can really speak to from the city planning perspective. It's probably something that DOB though would be more accustomed to answering if you wanted to reach out to them.
Yeah, no, I'd really appreciate that because I hear concerns, and I know we have construction going on near where I live with the new school, so we don't want any extra customers in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's understandable. I'm taking notes and I'll email them to the TF Cornerstone team, and you are all welcome to do the same.
Thanks.
Okay, Christine.
Yeah, thank you, Maury. I just wanted to go back to this issue of the special district and what control, because Steve asked what role we have. I mean, my understanding, Teal, correct me if I'm wrong, is that when the special district was created, it was very specific about height and bulk and even a lot of design aspects of the open space. And so in theory, a lot of issues that city planning would normally get involved in and that the community board might opine on in a ULURP action were determined at that time. And so what's taking place now is that they're just conforming to that kind of detailed plan. So if they were gonna deviate from that, it would come back to us, right? As a modification of the special district.
Yes, that's well said, Christine. It's a far more detailed plan than is even typical for the zoning resolution. Just like you're describing, there's a waterfront access plan that describes the different elements of the waterfront and exactly where they'll be located. The location of the buildings had already been set. The tower locations and heights were already set, as well as locations of commercial retail on 2nd Street.
Yeah,
and so it's just following through on the plan that was created.
Right. And in terms of interaction with other city agencies, those buildings still have to go through the approval process with the Department of Buildings. And so to the extent that things have changed at DOB, like code aspects or aspects of energy efficiency, those are still current. I mean, they're still obligated to follow current codes, et cetera.
Yes.
And designing and building those buildings.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to be. I mean, it sounded more like we were, there was no control. Then, in fact, the controls were just established early, but there are other ongoing agency controls as well.
Exactly. And for this development, TF Cornerstone they wanted to stick with the plan. They didn't want to deviate. So it's quite predictable in that sense. If they were to deviate, it would be an authorization, which I believe is like a modified ULERT process. But I'm not completely sure off the top of my head.
Right, we got into that with the 5 corners. I mean, that was a deviation from an approved plan, right?
Thank you, Christine. Lisa, then Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, they did come to community board when they were first talking about this project, and they were going to do something much larger. Teal, do you remember that? They wanted to platform over the railroad, cut through there, which would have required rezoning. Do you recall that, Teal?
Yeah, so I've heard of the decking scenario. It was before my time at city planning. It is, you're correct though, it is related, but when the pandemic came, they came to us just to fulfill this waterfront certification because they didn't want to pursue such an ambitious project.
That's right. So they had come to community board at that time, and it was actually a much larger proposal than the one, if you believe 1,000 units is scaled back from what they wanted to do. But they did that in order to have it be kind of as of right. So, yeah, but I think, you know, the issues that we have about particulate matter and transportation of construction materials and things, I mean, we've worked with developers in this community ongoingly around managing that. So I think we really need to do that.
Definitely.
Kenny?
Yeah, along similar lines, I guess, or parallel lines, I'm just curious, given the time span between, you know, the original EAS and where we are now, is there a time limit? Is there, under what conditions or time limit does an environmental assessment or impact statement actually expire?
I'm not sure. It's something I could look into, but I'm not sure at this time.
Yeah, because I mean, just I would assume that there's a lot that would be very different if those studies were done today.
Yeah, I can ask and get back to you like at Land Use Committee in a couple weeks.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kenny. Mary and then Thomas. And if you're finished asking questions, just don't forget to lower your hand.
No, I was just going to second Kenny's point that so much time has gone by for this particular phase of that development. Have there been any changes to, you know, city planning that requires them to have any revisions within that plan? It's just been so long. I mean, I can't even, I mean, what is it? What are we looking at, Kenny? Was this 5 years now? Better?
Well, so the text was passed in 2008, and
so, yeah,
it's
so
been,
way longer.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. I guess we're looking around 13 to 14 years. Just to give some perspective though, that's in planning world, that's not that long of a time. For the site in particular, we have like these parcels A through G and also the Newtown Creek subdistrict. And so the last parcels, so the other parcels A through G are controlled by HPD, and they've been RFPing them over time. And we still have parcels D and E that are going to be RFP'd over the course of this next year. So I just want to give a little perspective as to like how long it really does take to develop a subdistrict of this size. But no, the Newtown Creek team, they didn't have to do anything special in regards to the environmental statement, or they really are just following the development by the book.
Okay, and then, so I guess my follow-up to this before I put my hand down, can we get, can somebody send us what that, because there's a lot of new people on the board now that weren't here, you know, 20 years ago. in 2008, just to refresh everyone's memory as far as what parcels belong, what letter parcels belong to what area. Can we get a copy of that?
That would be helpful.
We send that to the board.
Sure. I can, I'll put a link to the zoning resolution chapter in the chat, and then I can follow up to Lisa and Debbie and Maury with pointing out some of the maps.
Thank you.
Thomas.
Thank you very much. Two items. The first is I've never really walked away feeling good with any of the answers I've received related to the hotel zoning text amendments. And I'm going to approach this a different way today by asking, there is a 25-story hotel going up in Blissville on 34th off of Van Dam. So how is it that that hotel got built without a permit, and after the M1 zoning text amendment was adopted in 2018 and even being built now? So there's no need to answer that now, but I think that might help me to understand, you know, how is it that this 25-story hotel is going up in an area that had a hotel zoning text amendment? So that's part one. Part two is, and thank you, Kenny, or I forget who mentioned the remediation before, but Lisa, I'm not sure if it's Teal or Lisa, there is remediation going on at the base of Review Avenue in Borden, just several blocks away from our permanent homeless shelter. And it indicates on the sign to contact the community board to find out what's going on. So do we know what's being built there that's causing the remediation at the end of Borden and Review?
I don't know off the top of my head. If you can give me the address of both
I'll take a picture of the sign. Yeah, and so the hotel, I think that would just help me understand, because here I'm seeing this 25-story building and everyone's telling me, oh no, Tom, it can't go up without a permit. I'm not hallucinating. So that's number one. And number two, what's this remediation going on just blocks away from us? Thank you very much.
Can you tell me the location of the hotel again so I can look it up?
It's 34th and off of Van Dam. It's a strange address because it's on two different blocks. I'll get you the exact address.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for city planning? Okay. I see Lisa just dropped in the Hunters Point South plan into the chat if anybody wants to grab that.
Yeah, that's just a presentation I had in my drive here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you. All right. So it seems like we are finished with city planning. Thank you, Teal. Sorry for forgetting you.
No worries. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year. So now we can move on to the committee reports. Transportation Committee.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Transportation Committee had an opportunity to meet on Tuesday, and like many meetings, we began with talking about COVID-19 and recognizing the impact it's had on many services, including our transportation services. That evening, we spoke of the MTA reporting to us that the 7-train express service had been canceled, and I believe still is, and that was because of staffing shortages related to COVID-19. On a personal note, I want to thank all of the elected for speaking about testing. I know in my world of work, we worked real hard to ensure everyone got vaccinated, and about 95% of our 1,000 or more associates were vaccinated. But what we're dealing with today is vaccinated becoming sick. And we have over 25% of our vaccinated population coming down with COVID. So I implore everyone, the testing is critical, it's very important. Back to transportation. We heard from DOT relative to a DOT presentation on 5th Street one-way conversion. And I want to thank Mary, I think myself, Lauren, who spoke up about some feedback on the one-way presentation. And I want to advise the committee and report back to the board that although on Tuesday night, DOT said they didn't need a letter of support because they had one, we discovered that they actually do need a letter of support because that letter is a decade old. So advising the committee that we will be talking about this again. I know we brought up daylighting issues. We brought up a bike lane. I'm not sure if that's possible. We brought up where all the illegal car parking is being done. They want to put up rocks instead of like nice greenery. So keep it in mind, keep it refreshed. We're going to talk about it again next month because they do want a letter of support, and I want to make sure that we provide the correct feedback when we provide that letter. We heard from the 108th precinct. Again, call outs to Jake and Mary regarding one item of critical importance throughout our district, which is, I'm going to say it's like the car collision places, using sidewalks as parking lots. I know for a fact that even in Blissville, I can't walk down certain streets because the cars are on the sidewalk. Our plea to NYPD was to tow the vehicles and send a message. Also, as it relates to NYPD, we heard several people talk about the need for reporting items. And I will tell you, I thought it was kind of funny, but the police were reporting back to me that, oh, 37th Street, the car's coming down the wrong one way. We've seen an improvement. And I said, well, not really. I just took a few weeks off. So this is why it's important to report things, because here I stopped reporting things, right? And they thought there was an improvement. It wasn't an improvement, I just got lazy. Next item here. Wynwood Gardens, a few things here. So 51st Avenue conversion, 50th Avenue. 50th Avenue is pending, 51st is proceeding. Important to recognize why is 50th pending? Because it's part of a bus route. And we learned that in 2022, Q1, they're coming out with the new bus map of Queens. The only thing I pray is it's better than the first one we saw. So be aware that this is going to be something that we're talking about soon. 58th Street, the right turn on off of Laurel Hill. That's still, I've asked for additional information from DOT. And after several months, we are moving forward, Deb, thank you, with the letter of support for the conversion of the one-way from southbound to northbound on 63rd and Wynwood Gardens. I made one request to the board chair and the chairman too to add something to the agenda, and I have a second item I'm going to add as a request to add to our future agendas. The first has to do with both Ben Gutman and I serve as board members of the QNS. And last month, the QNS, which is an organization to revitalize underutilized rail in the borough of Queens. So last month, our board met, and I'd like the Friends of the QNS to come and speak before transportation and possibly our entire board, because we agreed to expand our interest in looking at all underutilized rail throughout the borough of Queens. The one in particular we're looking at is the Lower Montauk branch, which has 2 stops in our district, one in Long Island City, the second in Blissville, and proceeding out to Masswood, Ridgewood, Glendale, all the way to Jamaica. I don't know if you read today, the governor spoke of her, the old Triborough, she's calling it something else now, and we're going to be supporting that. So that's my one ask to the board, is to have that group come and speak before committee board 2. Second ask I'm going to have, and I haven't written this yet, but I'll write it tomorrow, is we often, or I've heard from Lauren, Dr. Roz, about crash reporter. I'd like either someone who is really knowledgeable about this to come and speak before the transportation committee, because I do think there is data in this online thing that we could possibly use to be better informed. I wish I knew more about it. I know there are members of the committee that know a lot about it, but I think I'd like to educate the entire committee so we know what we're referring to and what it means and where to go, what to look at. Forgive me, let me see what else we got here. Oh, we heard about open restaurants, and very pertinent because we have snow coming, but there's all these new rules about open restaurants in snow. I think Debbie's going to post that on the website. You can read it on your own. And the last thing I have here in my notes is, before I mention two other items, is we did harass DOT a little bit about the city bikes. And many of us have been reporting locations where we want to see them. And they keep on asking us, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Well, we just want to see it now. So we've reported it enough. When are we going to see it happen? Last item, and this is really less about transportation, but I would feel negligent not to mention it. But I am for the executive team. At the Transportation Committee, there was dialogue that ensued around how committees should be run. I felt uncomfortable discussing that at a Transportation Committee. And I do think, and I would call upon the executive team possibly to have a meeting with all the chairs. I would love to discuss expectations around running a committee. I called upon someone from the public, for example, to help me accentuate a point. I don't know if that miffed some people. So I always thought that was my prerogative. So I just encourage, I think we need dialogue around committees, how they run throughout our community board. I didn't feel comfortable speaking on it just at the transportation. And that's my report today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Just to give you a quick address, your one point, at the start of the new year and the start of my term as a chairperson, I am going to schedule a meeting and inviting all of our chairs so we can talk about some of these exact issues, and that'll be coming up soon. So chairs, be on the alert. We will set up a meeting so we can all talk about this and get on a kind of even playing field, because we want to make sure also that all of our committees are kind of in line, because we want the public not to be surprised from when they go to one committee to another if things are handled differently. And, you know, talking with the borough president's office and the council and just my own belief that being open and inviting the public to be involved is always good. Engagement is good. That's what we're here for, to serve the community. That we also have work to do. We also have working meetings, so we don't want to, you know, prevent that from happening too. So we'll have a delicate balance, but we'll work those out. Thank you, Tom, for bringing those up. Danielle, you had a question?
Yeah, Tom, the group you were talking about that talks about or plans on using underutilized track, do they use that track for trains and for more transit? Is that the point of it?
Thank you for asking. And so it's the Lower Montauk branch, which has limited freight on it currently. So the idea would be to introduce passenger service onto the same line during, say, daytime hours when freight is not used. Freight is generally there only on the overnight.
I can't speak for obviously the whole board, but I think that would be, I mean, the governor's plan is exciting to me. And I think the more we can find ways to do that, we should. So I think that would be, I'd be very interested in hearing about that.
Excellent. You can go to, if you Google, and forgive me for not being very savvy with like Zoom and everything, but if you go to the Friends of the QNS, you could learn more about our work there that we've been doing. And so for 2 years now, we've been advocating for the Lower Montauk branch line, which again runs from Long Island City, Blissville, Pennybridge, Maspeth, Ridgewood, Glendale, all the way to Jamaica.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Camille, did you have a question?
I'm good now. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Mr. Berkowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tom, I actually have a question for you about the governor's plan. You may or may not know the answer to this question, but do you? I noticed that our Assemblywoman Kathy Nolan came out publicly that she was skeptical of the plan and referenced something about safety and the use of private contractors. You know, I'm sort of always for more transit and couldn't imagine that there would be a scenario that can't be worked out. Is that something that your group has heard about, or is it, you know, is there anything to that?
So thank you. So I will say to you, when we met as our board, we were not even aware of the governor's plan yet. So the discussions we had were around expanding our mission from beyond just the Lower Montrose branch to other branches in the Borough of Queens as well. I first learned of the governor's plan yesterday afternoon. So I do not have those answers, but I'm certainly going to look into them, and I will bring them up to our Friends of the QNS board as well. Thank you.
I really appreciate that and would welcome a discussion of the full issue, because I was a little bit surprised by that immediate reaction from the Assemblywoman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other questions? All right. So we'll move on to land use.
Actually, sorry, just to follow up on what Nick said, I wonder if we could extend an invitation to Assemblywoman or someone from her office to join us at the next board meeting to discuss that in person or on our meeting.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We can work on that. Yes. Thank you, Nick. I mean, Jake, sorry.
Land use committee did not meet in December. It was a rare, very light agenda. And given the very busy year that we had, we gave everybody a break for the holidays. Hooray. I don't think that's going to happen again for a while. But we have a great meeting queued up on the 20th, which is Teal is going to bring some folks from the Department of City Planning to talk about the new comprehensive waterfront plan, which deals with waterfront access and resiliency planning. And I think for those of you who are on the Environment Committee or other committees who are interested in waterfront issues, I invite you to join the Land Use Committee on the 20th. So I think that's it. You probably have, there'll be interesting things coming up this year. There'll be parcels D&E that are going to get RFP by the city. So hopefully we'll have an active part in that. And, they seem to be the person who is managing it now at HPD seems to want to be very inclusive with community board in terms of framing the RFP. So we need to actually pursue that as an agenda item. And, that's pretty much it for now. So you probably saw in the Sunnyside Post that there's a new building going up next door to the community board office, which is also as of right, but it's gonna cause a lot of mess for you, Debbie. So don't necessarily look forward to that.
It's on both sides now, construction.
Yeah, that's right. On both sides, on the Roosevelt Avenue side. Debbie, can't we move? Anyway, I think that would be the best
Lisa, just to call out, because I must, the building you're speaking of, the billiards hall.
Yes.
My great aunt worked in that building for 50 years as a head seamstress making dolls' clothes.
Wow.
So I think I have to come by and take a break.
I think you're entitled.
That's great.
Probably your bricks, Tom.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's it. Christine, you have anything to add?
No. I think that the building that's going up may, it sort of does get closer to the portion of the neighborhood where there hasn't been much development, and it may really raise in people's minds, the request that we made for a more comprehensive plan of development along Roosevelt, that the city actually look at that. I would hope so.
Yeah, that's great. Any other questions?
Laura?
Yeah, I mean, the new building, a lot of my neighbors and I are pretty concerned. I guess it's as of right, but it's going to go in with 31 parking spots, like less than 2 blocks from the 7 train station. And a lot of people are seriously concerned about that. And so I think we do need to really look at the Roosevelt Avenue corridor and make sure that, you know, talk about this and
try
to get this to stop happening.
Yeah, well, you know, the development is, if you look at 31st Avenue in Astoria, you know, if you read the tea leaves, it would, you know, it would just move down Roosevelt Avenue that way. So it is a real matter of concern. I agree.
Yeah, it seems like precedent is starting to be set. There was a swiping approval for the 31st Street development. There was not one person who voted against it. Sorry to speak out of turn.
Oh yeah, you mean the new town, the Neptune Diner, right?
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm talking about, yes.
Yeah, and you know, the new administration, I'm gonna just make a comment, is not, you know, anti-development. I mean, there are a lot of very pro-development people in the new administration, so it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up in terms of advocacy and inclusion and development. You know, it's a different council, a new administration. So yeah, I mean, I think there, you know, there are people who are going to want to make their mark on development in many communities. And so I think Long Island City in many ways is, you know, people see it as ripe for development. And so, you know, there are going to be, I'm sure there are going to be numerous issues that come up in the next couple of years around development and the waterfront. And TF Cornerstone is just, you know, the canary in the coal mine. So anyway, should be interesting, as Kenny said a little earlier. But thank you all.
Thank you, Lisa. Chairman Wu, Environment.
Hey guys, so our committee in the environment, we talked about actually potentially legislation that's going on right now and kind of how it affects the environment and specifically our district. So it was great. One of our board members, Danielle Brecker, kind of presented a slew of different legislation that's happening at the New York state level. And I think it was really interesting because from a local municipality perspective, there's a lot of things New York City has already codified, like electric buses, as well as local law 97, but they haven't codified them at the state level. And then there's still big pockets of the state, specifically within our district, that do affect us, right? Like the buses, right? So maybe the New York City school buses are electric, but not the public buses. So we didn't vote kind of for or against legislation. It was mostly educational, but I did think it was really interesting because there is another legislation around the bottling bill where they're talking about raising the bottle deposit from 5 cents to 10 cents and codifying recycling certain materials like vitamin water and other bottles. But at the Q-Swab event, which sounds like a great bill, Sims Meadows or Sims Recycling, who's in our district, they're actually against that bill because if the state takes that money, they're saying a lot of the private recyclers then won't be able to be profitable and can't recycle the less profitable materials, right? So this is something I think the environmental committee, we're kind of going through to see what makes the sense. And ideally, we do want to support legislation and talk about it that will make our district better, right? So it was a great presentation. And I think we're gonna talk at our next meeting what specific bills we would want to support, right? Other things we talked about was the pilot for composting in Astoria that got rolled out. So sanitation says they do not plan on rolling out to any other district, but that's something our community board district has been asking for quite some time. We put it in the budget priority. So that's something we've asked about. And then for our next committee meeting, we're actually going to be talking about Intro 2317. It's legislation New York City passed in December 2021, where all new building constructions will have to be fully electric. So they can't be using natural gas anymore. But I believe it's not until 2024, 2025. So that's going to be an interesting topic to talk about, where if buildings are coming on new development and they need to become a little bit more efficient, but maybe they don't have to be efficient now versus 2025. Maybe that's something we can help push people towards, right? So that's going to be the topic for our next meeting. And that's it. Thanks. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Wow, that was very efficient. I appreciate that. I'm sure everybody else does as well. So we'll move on to the tech committee, unless anyone had questions for Mr. Wu. No? Chairman Ashraf.
It feels weird to hear it put that way, but thank you. Hey everyone, glad to see you all. Happy New Year. We almost didn't have a meeting for our tech committee until our special guest confirmed like last minute. So we did have a presentation from Anej and Z from Beta NYC. And for those of you who don't know, Beta NYC is a civic tech organization. They do a lot of work with, borough president offices, government offices, and agencies, and community boards, mostly in Manhattan and Brooklyn at the moment. And, they help with everything from websites to filing systems and record keeping. So it all depends on what the boards need or what the offices need. They created a presentation for us, so I will just paste the link here in the chat, and of course I can send it if anyone's interested. I can get Debbie. I'll shoot you the PowerPoint so you can send it around for anyone who's interested. And yeah, you can read more about what they do there. But hopefully, the main takeaway is a few years ago, they weren't free, and now they are free, or a lot of what they do is free. So hopefully we can take advantage of some of the resources and services they have for our board. You all saw the meeting formats survey go out, and if you haven't taken it, please take a minute and fill that out. It just takes a minute. Thank you, Ross, for getting us started with it. Yeah, just want to get a better idea of where we're for our for where board members are coming from as far as meeting formats and what we're comfortable with. And yeah, in addition to everything that Maury mentioned, I guess we'll get ready for a website retweaking /update / small improvements. So keep an eye out for that and watch the space. And otherwise, that is it for tech.
Any questions for tech? All right, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Anatol. Very efficient as well. Appreciate it. Health and Human Services.
Hi, I guess I'll take that. Unless you want to, Roz. Okay.
Thanks, Lauren.
Okay, thanks, Roz. Okay, so for our December meeting, we had as our guest speaker Melissa Bear, who's the co-chair of New York City Midwives. She actually spoke during the public comments at our December co-board meeting. So she came for a discussion on CB2 providing a letter of support for the midwifery bill to the governor. So this is actually Senate Bill 1414A and Assembly Bill 259A. And it's an addendum to a 2016 law, which allowed midwives to own and operate birthing center without a hospital affiliation for low-risk birthing moms. And what had happened after the 2016 law had passed, the Department of Health set regulations, but they adopted Title 28, which are actually the regs for opening up a hospital. So this bill streamlines the licensure process for accredited midwifery birth centers. And so a motion was made for us to support it, and we voted to do so. And at the time of our meeting, it had unanimously passed the Senate and the Assembly, but they were waiting for the governor's signature. And as Roz just put in the chat, she signed it. So she signed it before the year ended. So it is law. And then the other thing that we discussed was Assembly Bill A6167, which was the bill that requires cafeteria staff to be trained in preventing and responding to anaphylaxis. That bill actually is in a different posture, so it's still hung up in committee, has not yet gone to the floor or passed at all. So we took a different approach to that, and this was at Roz's recommendation. So what we thought we would do is, rather than take any sort of position on this now, is to have, to talk to and hear from people who are in the school setting, so we can get their views on this issue. And that's it. Our next meeting is this Monday, January 10th at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much for taking the mantle and giving the report. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and very efficient as well. So thank you. All right. If we don't have any questions for Health Committee, then we'll move on to our Arts and Culture. Risha. Thanks, Lauren.
Hey, everybody. So at our last Arts and Culture meeting, we had Elizabeth Masella from Parks present with the installation artist, Sergio Funari. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see yet, but there is now a awesome heart sculpture that is now installed where the floating woman statue was over at Hunters Point South Park. So they were just speaking to us a little bit about the process of making the sculpture and installing it, and what other artists can do to also inquire about having their work scheduled for installation at a site like that. It seems like that particular site in the park could potentially be a rotating location of different local artists, which is really exciting to hear. Everyone is invited to touch it and interact with it. And it was meant to honor COVID victims, and also is just about like spreading love and positivity in this time. We also had the new president of the Mosque and Turkish Cultural Center over on Skillman Avenue between 45th and 46th Street. They recently had the Kermis Food Festival. And then after that, they have since closed for renovation. They are expanding their building to 3 floors, and they're planning programming for the greater Sunnyside community. So beyond the membership of their cultural center. They're interested in connecting with the greater community more. They work regularly with the Turkish small businesses in the area. So they will be reopening in March with programming for youth and adults, which includes cooking class and crafting, music, language, in addition to their prayer services in the mosque. So keep an eye out for that. They are opening their doors to everybody. What else? We also had the Woodside Arts Collective come and speak to us. So what we've been doing in the Arts and Culture Committee is trying to reach out to more and more organizations and small groups that we know in our district, and just simply invite them to come to our meetings and introduce themselves. And we introduce ourselves, and then we try and figure out what their needs are and how we can better connect them to city services. So that's something we're working on, and we're expanding every month. So it's been nice to meet another group. The Woodside Arts Collective is, it was founded, they're very new, founded by moms who are also artists and wanted to provide kids programming because they have young kids, and they have been activating Windmuller Park because there's a stage there, as well as the Moore Jackson Cemetery and Community Garden, which is it spans 51st through 54th Street along Broadway. They've partnered with Woodside on the Move to get those events going. So thank you, Woodside on the Move. They prioritize paying the artists that they employ to teach and do performances. And they also wanted to just bring to our attention that they need assistance on sound permit help. So that's something that we were able to address that with them. And they also introduced us to Kavka Interior Design. I don't know if anybody else here knows of them. They're on 52nd Street. They design pillows and rugs and interior fabrics, but they also hire local artists to do the designs in collaboration with them. And they also potentially have a space in their place of business that they are willing to share as artist working space. So I just wanted to put that out there if anybody's interested. Woodside Arts Collective just sort of told us about them. And so we're reaching out to Kavka Designs and inviting them to a future meeting. What else? Oh, so next month, or sorry, this month's meeting, I wanted to just let everybody know there's a lot of grant opportunities which have upcoming deadlines this month for artists. So we are having the DOT come and speak to us about their programming RFP. The deadline is in a few weeks. We also have Queens Council on the Arts speaking to us because they also have a grant deadline coming up in early February. We have PS1 MoMA coming to speak to us this month. They are also interested in connecting with the local arts community to help program the 46th Avenue Plaza, which is that little plaza that is in front of their space. And then we've also got the Director of Cultural Affairs and Tourism from the Queensborough President's Office, who's going to be talking to us more about the cultural tourism grant application for Queens, which the deadline is at the end of this month also. So please spread the word. There's a lot of funding on the table. There's a lot of direct information and questions that we can ask them directly. Our next meeting is this Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you, Carisha. Do we have a city services report? I think Steve had to leave.
No, but I'll just say the next meeting of the City Services Committee, there's a lot of applications that do come in, will be on the 12th at 6:30. January 12th at 6:30. Anybody wanting to attend, feel free.
Thank you, Debbie. Wow. Look what time it is, everybody. We have so much time. I think we should adjourn the meeting and just have a mingling time. Yeah, so as I said, February 3rd is the next meeting. I will alert everybody. We'll send out a message about a meeting for all the committee chairs. Look out for that. Other than that, folks, anytime you have a problem, be sure to call the office, see a problem in the neighborhood, and make sure all your neighbors know that as well.
Excellent.
We're here
I'd
for
like
that.
to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Oh, Tom seconds it.
Anyone opposed? Debbie, did you get it? Who?
Got it.
Got it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Okay, please save the chat for me.
Oh, one last thing, folks. Mask up. Don't use the cotton masks. Be safe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No cotton masks. Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night. Once again, happy and healthy New Year.
Happy and healthy. Thank you. Be safe.